What up, people? Waiting for old Zachy to pop in here. What up? Where are you, Zach? Everyone can hear me okay? Audio and, is visual good? Probably, but usually sometimes audio is a little bit whack. But, yeah, someone let me know if we're good. 10 out of 10. Nice. Nice. I don't know where he is. I just talked to him. I told him going on in 1 minute. Slap at the bass. Ah. What movie is that from? Isn't that from, what movie is that from? It's got, Paul Rudd, right? Paul Rudd and, what's his face there? From, Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Slap at the bass. Yeah, slap at the bass. Let's see those disc pics. The fuck you mean, man? Disc pics? Like the bodies? The bodies on? I'm not done them. They're still printing and picking. It's been a shit show. What up, Austin? The CD hole? What, from Fox yesterday? These things here? Haven't put them away yet. The Flesh and Blood goodies? Wow. Yeah. One of them's a DVD, so it's going to be sick to try and upload that somewhere. Yeah. No, there's some goodies. There's some goodies. Where the fuck is he? Can't do this by myself. Okay, we have 20-something people in here. And not the right guy. And I got all my questions. I typed them out. Because I forgot I had to use my phone. So I had my questions on my phone. So I don't have time to, print all, to write all this out on paper. So give it a quick print. Did you get the shirt from Fox? It looks like the one he's wearing back. Oh no, this one. I think I bought this online. Bought off somebody a while ago, a couple years ago, I think. But yeah, I think he does. I think there is a few live sets. Yeah, I think he had the same shirt though. Are they original or he burned you fresh copies? No, these are originals. Yeah, like this one still has the paper on it. 7-track demo, $4. Yeah. Oh, it's all OG. Found it in his basement. Okay, Zach is here. So let me give that guy a little invite.
What's up, dude?
Boo! How's it going, man?
Bad. I mean, yeah, power's on.
Power's on?
I told you earlier I got COVID this week.
That's good.
So yeah, I'm a little bit low energy, but otherwise feeling all right.
Yeah, I remember getting it last year, and it wasn't as, I mean, I didn't get it as bad, but there was a few days that were pretty kind of I don't know, just shitty, right? Like kind of cold sweats and stuff. But the thing that was the worst was the lack of like energy.
Yeah,
it took away.
I feel that.
Like it felt like I ran a marathon, but I was laying in bed all day. Like it was really weird.
Yeah.
You hear me okay?
How's this sound? I've never actually tried the microphone on my headphones. Is it all right?
It works perfect. I can hear you perfectly. Sweet. Yeah, we got quite a bit of people in here, so we might as well let it rip. Yeah.
Dude, the camera is weird on here, isn't it?
Cool, man. Your camera?
No, I feel like it's lower than where my phone camera normally is.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too. Like when I go live, it's yeah, it like cuts me off. I have it propped up weird so it gets my head, or else I'm like half like.
I'm just gonna recline.
But yeah, so I've worked out the kinks here. Yeah, someone yeah, are you sipping back some?
Dude, I got water.
What do you got there?
Tea. So I'm all set.
Nice. Yeah. All set. Yeah, usually I got a nice jug of water here too, especially when we're being yapping
for
a bit. So,
where do you live?
Yeah. So.
Oh no shit.
Canada. Yeah, right across the border from Michigan, from Detroit. Yeah. So, I caught you guys. I only got to see you guys once, but I caught you guys at the Ferret Young Guns tour with like the banner and See You Next Tuesday and Knights of the Abyss. What? Yeah, that was at the Magic Stick,
the bowling alley.
Yeah,
yeah,
the bowling alley and the Sergeant Pepperoni pizza place that's built into it.
Oh,
yeah,
sick.
It's all still there. Yeah. It was great. It was the sweet. It was upstairs, so it was like this little cool stage.
Yeah,
kind of intimate. I saw Suicide Silence there too when they just had the cleansing come out when they were like as they're getting bigger, and that was like insane. But yeah, so I don't know, you want to look at this guy?
Never played Maine before.
Played Maine. You guys never played Maine? That's weird considering like the Young Guns tour I feel like was like a bigger, a bigger event, I guess, like a tour.
We never made it that far north. I think maybe like New Hampshire would have been the furthest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, besides
the furthest,
besides Canada.
Someone's already started the. Have you guys ever played Canada? Yeah, like
only once in Montreal. It was so tight. Actually, I have great memories of that. Just that one show there.
Montreal had
it was cool, dude.
Back then.
We were I had no idea how French it was. Like I knew it was French Canada, but I had no idea there would be like walk around town and have a language barrier, like going to a store where someone wouldn't speak English to us and stuff. I was like, oh, this is like way more immersive than another culture than I thought it was. It was cool.
It is. Yeah. It definitely is. But honestly, like if you guys were in like a touristy area, then they introduce you, like talk to you first in French, and then you'd be like, no English, and they'll go. But like there's outside parts of Quebec that like they'll spit in your food if you speak English. They speak English. Yeah, it's crazy. For like years ago when I was in high school, they actually wanted to be their own thing and have their own currency. They wanted to separate from Canada. It was, they're bizarre.
Weird, like far right nationalist movements in like French Canada who want to secede.
It can get interesting up there. They say it's the closest to Europe you'll get without going to Europe. So if that tells
felt
you
that way.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get this puppy on a roll. Yeah. That's what everyone kind of came here for, I guess, huh? They didn't come for me, I'll tell you that. You're already getting all the Masochist questions. You see them already? Pay $500 for a copy? Yeah.
Yeah, probably don't do that.
It's pretty high. I mean, I spent $150 on mine, so, but it's all good. And then I found another one for $40, so it evened out. Like both presses, the one's from like Ferret, right, or something. They like repressed it.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I never saw a copy of that. I don't know what indicates like.
It's pretty much the colors are different a little bit, but basically the biggest difference is that the Ferret one's got a barcode and the self-release doesn't. But the colors has nothing to do with Ferret. But just like what online says that they self-release and put them in Hot Topic, or like they put them in Hot Topic, but they didn't put any logo or nothing. But yeah, most likely. I think there was like 1,008 or something I read. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyways, there's not much of a difference. Basically, the shades of green are different, and then a barcode is pretty much the same. Someone said they just copped a "You Make Me Fucking Sick" shirt. Don't ask me what I paid. Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to start off the interview with
Elysia.
How the fuck do you say Elijah?
Yeah.
Elysia. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, but it was like always so.
Oh, okay. So it was Elysia.
No one in the band cared. Like if someone mispronounced it, I never like corrected anyone or anything.
The only reason I know how to say it, well, even though I said it wrong, was the interview you guys did on the Burning DVD. And you say the name, you say I'm Zach and I play and then that's how I got. I was like, oh, that's how you say it. Because back then I was like Elysia, and then I heard people say Elijah, and then I hear people say, I've heard like 5 different ways, and it makes sense why you guys have the shirt.
Yeah, it just kind of became a joke, right? Like we didn't care how you said it.
I mean, yeah, at that point, yeah. You're not going to beat them. You might as well just join them and
Elijah's
have
funny,
fun.
Though. I don't know how people came up with that one.
I mean, it's kind of like the name Rachel, where I feel like there's like 5 ways to say it, but then there's only really one way to say it. You know what I mean?
Springs community.
Like my fiance's name is Rachel, and there's so many comments coming. I don't even think I can. But do you guys realize you changed the generation of kids? Seriously, Elysia was seriously got to miss you and love you. Thank you for the Ross music. The same way you say Elysia. Yeah. Weren't you guys called something else before that?
Yeah.
Elysium's Revenge or something?
Yeah. I mean, so, if you want to start at the beginning, that's like perfect place because we started with that terrible name, Elysium's Revenge, because...
So where did that where did that stem from? Like what was
the... When it started, it's basically just like 3 of us were the core of it, Alex and Kevin. We were just like best friends in high school.
Okay.
All kind of getting into that music together. And they played instruments already. Like Alex and Kevin played like they would like dick around and play punk together and stuff. So like in 2003, which is freshman or sophomore year, we started it, and just another member like wanted to have revenge in the name and didn't really have a name picked out. It was just like revenge is a sick hard ass word, and we wanted to.
So you worked around revenge.
Elysium. And so it was like this compromise name, which is probably like a bad idea. Like I guess if you're naming your band, maybe don't compromise, because then like no one wins and you kind of all lose. And you might end up with a shitty name like Elysium's Revenge, which we obviously changed. We basically just shortened it to Elysia. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah, Elysia is a lot.
This kid was 2. Oh, is that true? You were 2 in 2003.
Who? When he said he was 2?
In your 20s.
Oh yeah, that's a dude that buys a lot of my stuff.
So
He's
funny.
his name is Chris. Yeah, he was 2. That's so funny. That's weird to think though, right? Like He's like a fucking infant. The other reason I joined the group because I bought your Christmas post 2 years ago. It was cute. I don't know who that's to, but okay. So when you guys were like, how did you get from? Okay, so I guess the question is, when the band started, what kind of music did you guys play as the first formation of Elysia? Elysia's Revenge, I guess. When you guys were a Revenge, what was like?
Basically, like what you would imagine a bunch of like 14-year-old kids would make, who are just getting into like hardcore and metalcore. It was basically like, if there was a band we liked, we would have a part of their sound in our sound. So it was just a mess, you know, just a whole mess of all these like different things. Mainly like, I guess, different types of like metal.
Like a concoction.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it was a little bit less, I guess, heavier than like Masochist once you guys kind of came into.
Sort of like, probably wasn't even really breakdowns at first. It was just like heavy music. Like, I don't know. I don't think we knew enough. I don't think the band started when we even knew what a breakdown was.
Right. Yeah. That was probably on the cusp of when like breakdowns became, you know, popular. I mean, and everybody.
They were definitely out, but we just didn't know what one was. Like, I don't know. Like, we might have had our first practice before my first show, like literally. Yeah, maybe.
Right. Did you guys release any physicals, like, or any like music?
Yeah. So, like, if you want to clean up the discography here a little bit. Yeah.
That's one of my questions.
Yeah.
So you might as well rip the Band-Aid off now.
Ryan let me know in advance he'd ask that, so I could like sit down and formulate a response to this. So I got it. I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. So Elysia's Revenge did like 2-song demo in 2003 that was self-recorded in my garage with like a digital like multi-track recorder where it has like a digital interface and you don't use a computer or anything. It like came with a set of drum mics.
Oh.
And, I had no idea what I was doing, but we somehow like got 2 songs that we put up on we never even like burnt it. I don't think it was just on MySpace and this old website you might remember called hxcmp3.com. Yeah. That's
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, that was like the biggest thing before like LimeWire and Pure Volume and stuff.
So I mean, I would don't even seek that out. I don't even think you can find it, and it's not good. And then in 2004, we did the Killing Grounds EP, which I think is under the name Elysia. I think we had changed the name before that.
Yeah, online it is anyways, but
and like there wouldn't be like a cover of that. I don't think we like burnt it or anything. I think it was just on MySpace. It was 5 songs, 2 of which were re-recorded from the like 2003 demo, and then it had 3 new songs.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of where we started to get like a sound, and there were breakdowns. It's kind of more. Those songs are more like recognizable as like metalcore.
Right.
Yeah, kind of like the style of metalcore that was popular at the time with like melodic leads and a bunch of bullshit that we. I guess I just say bullshit because we quickly didn't like it when we made the next release, which is one that people would actually probably listen to. So like in that same year and later in 2004 is the 2004 demo, which this is Incinerate, Triumph, Skirmish, and Massacre. 2 2004. We did. So we actually burnt some copies of that. I I think I was asking you if you had ever seen it. I like haven't seen it since. I asked a friend who, because we released it at a house show at his house. I asked him recently if he like had one. Like no one seems to have one. It'd be cool to find. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. I'm sure they're few and far between.
Yeah.
I got one guy that says he has one. He was the vocalist for Forever Despair. You remember them from North Carolina? And then he was also in Seneca for a little bit. He says he
has one. Huh.
But he says, yeah, his name is Hunter. He says he has one at his mom's in storage, but that was 2 years ago. And I hear that a lot. And then
it'd be tight to find.
So,
even if I could just see like a photo of it, like I remember the cover was really bad. Yeah. Like, probably just made on like clip art or something. It's like,
what was the art?
I don't even know, like white on black, like maybe like a wizard or something, and then just says Elysia.
Weird. I don't think I've ever seen a copy or even
and
artwork
the
of that.
Lyrics were, we like didn't know how to double print because this was just obviously printed at home, so we like printed the lyrics separately and then, like glue sticked them to the back of it. That's what I want to see. Like I want to see a photo of that glue stick job.
That would be sick. I would love to see it. So after that release, was it teaser?
Okay, so
for that?
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. So teaser's not not like a real release. It's not an actual release. So I think no.
Like not digital or physical,
kind of
like it's just somebody
just like a like a snafu maybe. That's basically what the track listing on that I think is like Incinerate, Triumph, and Filthy. But Incinerate and Triumph were released on the 04 demo, and then Filthy was released on its own, just digitally. So Filthy was basically like a single.
Okay.
That was just put out on MySpace. I think we wanted to save it, but I remember we like couldn't wait, and we just like put it out on MySpace.
Right.
The teaser thing like has a cover and shit. That was our old guitarist was like starting to mess around with Photoshop, and he would kind of like make covers and stuff. And yeah, like I think he just like came up with that title for something, like made a cover.
It's a heck of a title.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got it from something.
So that's not like an official release. It's more like almost like a compilation. Like you kind of had the demo 04 with the Filthy soundtrack single.
Yeah.
And that was what? Like, was it actually like a release that you guys said were putting together, or did like someone online?
Someone online put that together. Like it's
together
not
and they got
it's 04 demo, Filthy single, and then Masochist.
So where did someone find the teaser name then? If you guys came up with the name,
I think maybe like LimeWire or some shit. Because I know like there are of those 3 songs. There's actually 3 versions. So there's like those demo versions, and then the re-recording of Masochist. But then there's this like other kind of like third version, which was basically like not stolen. I think one of us were just like careless, had it in a folder on our computer, and then someone like through file sharing downloaded it, and then it like spread. Because we did re-record those 3 songs before Masochist. And if memory serves me right, like the reason we re-recorded them is like really dorky. I think we went in preparing to record Masochist, and so we like laid down those tracks in one day, and at the end we were like, all right, we'll be back in a few months with the rest for the album. And the engineer, the producer Phil, was like, you can't do that. Like you can't like split up the recording of this album. Like it's gonna sound different. And we were like, oh shit.
That's
so,
funny
like,
you mentioned
those third version of those songs, like that's why it exists. And we just never did anything with them. They're basically unreleased versions of it.
So they didn't make on the Masochist?
Not those versions.
Because those,
yeah, they got recorded.
Not those versions. Okay.
Masochist. Yeah, a third time.
Oh, okay. I think I have 3 versions of at least Incinerate and Triumph. There
should be 3 of all.
Be Filthy, but
yeah, and like when we skip ahead, but also to kind of we'll answer some of these questions when I'm trying to re-release it, and when we do, like it'll have like all these demos at the end, so you can hear them and stuff.
So almost like a discography. That's cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
November 5th isn't us. We didn't make that song. Yeah, but.
Oh, I saw that.
I saw it.
An actual date, like a show or something.
But now I'm remembering there was like this acoustic song called November 5th by Elysia, and it wasn't us. But people always thought it was us because they were just like, oh, maybe they made an acoustic song, and it's like singing, so you wouldn't be like, oh, that doesn't sound like him. But yeah, that wasn't us.
That's funny. Yeah, I feel like LimeWire also.
Dude, that's what I mean. Yeah, like a lot of this shit is messy because of file sharing. Like it's just so sloppy.
Right. Oh, I know. Like even working with like even through the label, like working with bands, and I go, okay, like I want to do this, and this release, and they're like, well, this release, wasn't even real. That's just somebody that put up, our stuff on a blog spot and called it that. And I was like, for 15 years, I thought it was real, until like, last year, I'm like, oh, cool. I guess not. But, yeah, I feel like LimeWire and online just kind of like people made up their own shit, like the Wild West over there. But it's good to clear up it's cool that you cleared up the discography, because I feel like online, it's very sporadic with information. It's kind of hard to be like, what's actually legit release, what you guys actually consider release. Like Teaser, I thought was like something for real that you guys did like CDRs for at shows, but it sounds like it wasn't even a real thing, which is which is hilarious. We've all been duped for like 15 years. Leave This Place, 3 versions of which songs? I think you're saying Incinerate, Filthy, and Triumph. Yeah, sick. So the next question is, how did you guys get hooked up? I know you weren't really on The City's Burning, but how did that come about? Because you guys were obviously affiliated with like the DVD, and I remember them selling your stuff and stuff like that. So how did you guys hook up?
Yeah, well, I would say we were on them. Like we weren't signed or anything, and like obviously didn't put out a record with them, but had been like working with them for a year or so. He hit us up on MySpace, and at the time, like, you hadn't really heard from anyone. Maybe like a couple people, nothing I remember, like nothing substantial. And I remember like being impressed because he had, I think he had Stick to Your Guns already, which I had some familiarity with, but mainly actually was most impressed and familiar with the Final Burden he had. And so we saw that and we're like, thought that was legit. Like, I'm not, we're from Northern California. I'm not from SoCal, so I might be getting this wrong, but in my memory, like the Final Burden,
your audio's off if you can hear me. Oh, Burke. There we go. Yep, I got you.
FaceTime call. So if it cuts out, that's what's happening. But yeah, so the Final Burn was really impressive to us, and I don't remember much about like what the pitch was from The City's Burning, but yeah, he messaged us. He said, I do remember saying he had like some type of deal with Chipotle where he could get free Chipotle.
I mean, that's a pretty good reason.
I don't even think I
would have sold me
Chipotle at that time. No,
even
like
to
back
like now.
then.
Now
This
this
is
day.
like 2004
Oh,
or something.
Back then.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And they had a lot of good bands. So didn't they have like Amir at one point and Carnifex?
Oh, that was like later. Pretty much like when he was pitching to us. Like I really only remember Final Burden and like maybe Stick to Your Guns.
Final Burden. So he kind of hit you guys up a little earlier on
in
the label. Okay, I see. Yeah, I remember you guys having some affiliation with it, but I never had like. Did he ever do like? Did they ever put out merch for you too, or no?
No.
So basically, you guys were just on the DVD kind of thing, and that was kind of the extent of it.
Yeah, we did the DVD. Well, so there was always like this understanding that we would like RLP when it was done would be with them, but it like kind of at the last second I remember it fell through, and we kind of had to self-release it.
For Masochist, like the first press. Yeah. So you guys like how many copies did you guys make of that? Do you remember?
It was 1,000.
Word on the street is 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So that's The City's Burning. So you guys self-released it, and then how long between the self-released Masochist until Ferret kind of got involved, I guess? Because then they were you guys sold out of everything? Is that why they kind of repressed it?
It was sold out by the time we signed with Ferret. I remember it felt like a lot of time had gone by. So Masochist comes out in 2006. We graduated in 2006. So school was kind of like it kind of held us back in a way, obviously, because we're in school. We would like do like a month during the summer or something out on tour, but being done with school really like allowed us to hit the road. So I feel like we did that for a while, and then
just toured and stuff and did shows.
And
how was the reaction? Like, were people like was there a lot of hype with you guys?
Yeah, it seemed like
selling 1,000 CDs, and I mean that's a pretty good pretty good feat.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I don't even remember how we sold those CDs. Like, if it was on tour or if it was just online. Like, I don't even really remember. But
yeah, I've heard people say they bought it off your MySpace, but I would imagine you probably had them at shows too. I would assume. But you guys were all also. I remember you guys being really young too.
Obviously, yeah. So,
like, how old were you guys when like Masochist came out? Like, what was?
Would have been 17, I think. Yeah.
17. Wow. That's crazy. Were you the youngest?
No. We had so the three best friends that I mentioned, Alex, Kevin, and I, we were all in the same grade, and then we had our two homies who were a grade below us were actually the younger ones. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's wild. Being in a band in school, that's so crazy. All were 17. Yeah. Well, so are you familiar with Underneath the Gun? Yeah, those guys were really young too, but really, really good for their age. Like that. Yeah,
dude.
Those guys were wild.
They were cool. We were in that The City Is Burning DVD. The kids on the stage who are just like sitting on the drum riser and shit is Underneath the Gun. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't watched
that
DVD in a while,
was.
But,
it's such a.
I don't remember fully, but
that was like a really weird fucking show. The DVD. It's funny too because it was like recorded by this guy named Robbie. I won't say his last name, but he. In preparation of this, I was kind of thinking about stuff and I was remembering him, and I remember about a year ago I like saw this like really outlandish like far right conservative commenter on Twitter, and I like recognized his name. I was like, no fucking way, and I like clicked his name, and sure enough, after like seeing his photos and shit, I'm like, oh, this is the fucking dude who recorded and made, like filmed and everything, the This City Is Burning DVD. And so I looked him up again yesterday, and this fucking fool is like, he doesn't live in California. He lives in like Nashville, which is a really, really fucking popular like area and city for conservatives in California to like flee, to like seek refuge there.
Yeah.
And this fool was last year in August ran for Senate as a write-in candidate too, which is like the cherry on top. Didn't even make the ballot.
Right.
His slogan is like, "Write me in."
Really? It's weird how people get like, I don't know, like I've had friends too where it's like they go like it's just like, and you're like, how did you get to that point? You know what I mean? Like what, you were so normal, and now it's like, you know what I mean? They just turn like far left, just like.
Yeah, I didn't know
it's
him
interesting.
that well, so I don't know. Maybe he always was like this, but it's just like,
yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah,
he's like such a fucking dork. And my only real memory of him is like we stayed at his house that night, but partially so we can just watch the footage. Like back then, this is what, like 2006. Like there you'd play a show and there just like wouldn't be footage of it. People didn't have like good cell phones to record and shit. So we all were just like glued to the TV. And I remember he got like really wasted and tried to get some girls over on his like MySpace because he was like a little like scene celeb on there, and and no one came over. And he like pissed.
No one came over.
Futon, like blackout drunk, and now he's a good old Nashville Senate candidate.
So he's done.
Yeah.
Definitely moved up in life. That's good. When you said scene celeb, it brought me back to do you remember when the scene girls used to make those signs like over their boobs and stuff, and the scene girl? Yeah, remember that? I feel like you guys had quite a bit, and there was a few bands just like had albums of them on MySpace. And I'm like, just a random memory. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
What a time.
No. So it's like super hard to keep up with comments, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. One dude says Jake runs This City's Burning, old guitars for her demise and car effects. No, apparently he bought the rights from.
That's what we knew.
His name is Josh, I think.
Him and like his.
Yeah. So apparently he sold the rights and everything to Jake, but then Jake realized that he had already sold the rights to other stuff to like another label, so he kind of got duped. But I heard that Josh guy isn't exactly the most trusting.
Oh, really?
Dude.
That's a bummer.
Anyways, but I mean, that's just what I've been. Like, we have between Jake and like underneath the gun.
Basically, just like kind of fell apart with him. So we might have got lucky. Well, actually, we kind of did get lucky. Like Ferret wouldn't have been able to do that repress if like we had released it on This City's Burning, without having to like buy it or some shit, you know. So
yeah,
I definitely like fortunate
that's true.
in that way.
That's true.
There's a couple things on here.
Someone asked, is it true you wrote Decaying Waste for Knights of the Abyss?
No, like I got there, so they actually like flew me out. It was like super nice, to Phoenix, like to the studio.
Oh, that's cool.
And when I got there, they had a song that they like didn't know what to do with, so it was like recorded and shit. And he kind of had, actually it was Dustin or Hadlock, everyone called him. Who was the singer at this time, and he like kind of had some lyrics, but we needed. I think I was kind of able to like write my parts.
Oh, so the parts you do are actually,
I think so,
your lyrics as well.
And then we like formatted the vocals and shit like all together. Animosity was a high school band. They were actually like a little older than us, but I know they started as a high school band.
Well, they were
yeah. They're obviously
definitely
sick.
Yes, Preschool Team Party Massacre did have the most teen girls. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, someone knows the dude's name from that recorded the City's Burning DVD.
Yeah, I saw. What? I saw up there.
Yeah,
I didn't want to bring
guess
attention
if you
to
see
it.
that, look him up, dude. That's really fucking funny. The synth.
Sound like I'm joined. What's that? Your voice.
I got that spam phone call again. Sorry. No, the synth player period. There was
yeah. What was the synth thing there?
So Killing Grounds, that EP was the synth player period. Yeah, we like really didn't have like a good idea for what we wanted to do with synth, but we were obsessed with
right
with the first Unbroken Wings LP, which every time I like revisit music from that time, I'm always like, this album's still fucking really good. I don't remember what it's called, but the very first one. But we were obsessed with it, and it had like it wasn't like symphonic, but it had like synth and like, I guess you would like samples and shit. And we kind of wanted to do that. And we met someone from like a town that was close by us who had like a little like micro mini Korg, I think.
Right.
And he joined, and like we tried as much as we could to find like sounds to incorporate into it and shit, but there was still like a lot of gaps where he had nothing to do. So he kind of would do like vocals sometimes too, but it was just kind of like a mess. It never really worked out, and then he started singing for like another band, and I think we just like mutually parted ways.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to catch up to
what
the rest. So
go
synth player. Favorite current bands. Actually, since I've been sick, I've been really like bored. And I put together my top favorite albums of last year. I'll post that after this.
Yeah.
If you want to check that out, dude. The dude who said that. But
my
favorite album from last year was this record by this band called Labyrinth of Stars. Check that out. It's an ass beater. It's just like death metal though. It's not core or anything.
Do you still listen to any like old deathcore stuff or like any new up and coming?
Yeah, so it's not like the style of music I like or listen to now, but as I've gotten older, I have like I'm more able to appreciate things that I don't necessarily like listen to and stuff, and so I'm kind of like aware of some of it. I follow this dude who like promotes shows like hardcore and metalcore shows in Florida, and so I've kind of noticed a little deathcore revival scene where he's from in Florida with like Tactosa.
Someone everywhere.
And
a
couple other bands. Sorry.
Tactosa's.
But yeah,
Tactosa's really
I think
cool.
they're all doing like a good job, and it's tight to me that people are like recognizing a difference. You know, they're seeing a difference. They're saying that there's like an early version of deathcore, and then there's like a later version. It's funny to see people notice that.
Yeah, it's wild, and I feel like a lot of the bands. I mean, there's a lot of bands that sound too like overproduced, and it's kind of isn't that exciting. But there's a lot of bands that want that MySpace deathcore sound, and it's cool to hear them have that raw, like, you know, a lot of those bands back then did have the money to have like top recordings.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like a lot of it's raw.
It sounds better,
and you know,
it honestly sounds better.
Very.
Like,
I love like it.
All of.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, sorry, I keep getting this spam call, and then it like cuts me off. But
they must want you.
Yeah. What were we saying?
Have you heard of the band Mange?
Yeah. They
Did you see the?
yeah, they
Did
messaged
you
me
see
that
their cover?
That was tight. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, did they? Awesome. I think you got spammed again.
We'll see. Hopefully that'll work. It's like a group call.
There we go.
So there's like 20 numbers I have to block. Yeah.
That's
This
insane.
person just
Who signed you up
Manticore and
from...
Tracheotomy and Tactosa. Those were the Florida bands I was thinking of. Thank you. Wow. That person just nailed it. Those were the exact three I was thinking of. That's so funny.
Yeah, those guys are definitely... So what did you think of the
Yeah,
Mange
it's cool
cover?
to hear.
Did you enjoy it?
It's flattering. Anyone would like record a cover of something that's like old too. It's like, wow, that's so cool.
Someone said we are trying to contact you about this extended scam offer.
That's awesome.
That's so funny. We're reaching out for your extended car warranty. So what were we talking about before? I feel like we went off a little bit and then you froze.
I was talking about how it's cool that people sort of are singing, and younger kids are singing that like raw sound. It's just better. It's just heavier. I feel like a lot of us in that era like made worse sounding like produced music as we got further in our careers, and just being like really overproduced and clean, and like I think deathcore got to like people, every person in each band got too obsessed with like their own performance, so they're in the engineering room and everyone's wants to like hear themselves. So you get this overproduced sound where the vocals are super fucking loud and over the top. And by over the top, I mean like on top of the instruments, above them and stuff, which that's just not really how music should sound.
Yeah,
like, that makes sense for pop music. Pop music, the vocals are really loud. That's like where the melodies are. That's where, they want you to sing along, that it's catchy and shit. You're making like gross, like mosh music. Like, turn your fucking vocals down, dude. Like, and it also it makes your instruments sound like so much more like fake, like so much more in a small room with a little microphone, rather than like sounding like live and large and heavy, because your instruments should be loud. Like, vocals aren't going to be in a natural state louder than your instruments. Instruments are going to be, like ear-piercingly loud. And I just like,
no, I agree.
From that deathcore era, I don't really like LPs that came out of it, because by the time everyone did an LP, they kind of cleaned up their sound and shit. Like Suicide Silence, their LP was recorded live, that first one, I think, and it sounds good.
The cleansing was,
but
it does.
From that era, like the stuff that I like now that I can listen to. I like to listen to that I still think like holds up for me. For me, like, not just, I'm not saying like holds up in general, just my personal taste. I really like I really like the Impending Doom demo and Nail Dead Risen. Nail Dead Risen sounds so fucking like just nasty. That's really a really good recording. And I like the Molotov Solution, like a couple demos before they started doing full lengths, and like that War from a Harlot's Mouth split has really good Molotov Solution material on it. Yeah,
The
with Word
split,
from
right?
Harlots Now. Yeah, their side of that is
Yeah,
fucking sick.
yeah.
I can definitely still bump that today and enjoy it, like no doubt.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Impending Doom demo is like that's probably that and Nailed It Risen are like some of the heaviest,
Yeah,
like
they're hard
raw
as fuck,
sounding. You
dude.
know what I
And
mean? Like it has. A,
yeah, we all got away from that. I feel like because like I like the Elysia 2004 demo sound more than like the production of Masochist because uh, we all just kind of, I think like you said, we all sort of maybe accidentally ended up with like raw recordings where we were, you know, like recording with a friend who didn't have like a bunch of new equipment or all the greatest stuff, and like,
right.
but it ends up
Right.
sounding better.
Right.
And then by the, yeah.
Or you guys are just young, you know, like you don't have money to pay for like a huge production, you know what I mean? So I was going to show this little guy here.
Yeah, I remember the cover
one?
because it was just like a logo dripping down.
Yeah. Well, there's two versions of it. I'm trying to find the other one. I actually have both versions. But I have so many CDs, it's kind of hard to find them. But yeah, so the yeah, I definitely agree that the deathcore scene this like these days definitely doesn't, for me, doesn't really hold up. I find I get kind of bored with it fairly quick. Like I'm still listening to stuff that's like old, you know what I mean? Like 2006, July 4, like I don't know. It's just a different time, you know what I mean? Like I feel like the sound just there's more emotion, there's more energy. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's just But
yeah, I think it like kind of.
But yeah, so
for me, like it kind of started with the production getting bad, and then deathcore kind of it went through the same thing that I would say like mellow death metalcore went through, where the like first wave of bands who were really good at it, you know, like Unearth, or for example, that's a band who's like copying actual mellow death bands. They're getting their riffs and shit from like At the Gates or like Early in Flames from like the Gothenburg death metal sound. And then each generation that comes after, they start copying Unearth, right? And then the next band copies that band, and then you just kind of get this watered down version where it has no relation to its roots anymore. And that definitely happened to deathcore, where like those bands only listen to deathcore bands. They like probably have never heard like Obituary album or something, and don't listen to hardcore or anything. Like,
so basically they're like copying, like, you know, a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. They're copying them, you know what I mean? So it's like
just gets like all diluted.
You're not copying the right. No, I never. That's actually a cool way of looking at that. I never really gave that like a huge thought, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. Where like bands now are copying bands from like, you know, 2013 or something, but those bands are copying bands from 2006. So it's like a stepping stone all the way up, and like you're copying somebody now whose production and sound was like just overproduced, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. That you kind of put it in perspective. Put it in perspective that way. Of having like, no, I definitely agree with you there. Yeah, it's someone mentioned Lorna Shore being the prime example. What do you think on that? Like, I feel as much as Lorna Shore is getting, you know, a lot of attention, good attention, but there's a lot of people that are really against it because it's just a lot of overproduced and like the breakdown sounds the same, or the vocals are too high, or this or that. So I don't know. Do you give them a listen?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I only listen to a couple singles. I mean, it's not, the breakdowns are good, but
I just kind of like
think this symphonic like death metal stuff
shit, and then stopped listening. So the kind of bands that came after like 2008, I guess, I'm just like not super familiar with. Yeah.
Oh, okay, makes sense. The vocalist for Tactosa said, "Thanks for the shout out, Zach. Elysia is a huge
Oh, cool.
influence."
Oh, cool.
Kyle Whedon.
What's up, Kyle?
That's sick. So, okay. So my next question. I know so many questions like from the people that I feel like we get kind of bombarded here. So anyways, what I wanted to ask was, the next question is, Masochist is, these days hailed as like one of the best like deathcore albums ever. What was your? It is like you have no. People paid $500 for a copy, so even the merch, man. It's like I've spent some pretty pennies on some shirts. I showed you my collection, I think, right? Of all we were laughing at the Circle Pit or Die shirt stuff.
Shirt.
But anyway, so during the writing of Masochist, what was your mindset while making that record? Like, cool. What was like the stuff you wanted to tackle?
Well, and lyrically. Thanks for what you said about it, dude. I always think of it as like being kind of forgotten about and shit. And like, I know I don't really have my finger on the pulse of like the scene, so I probably wouldn't hear anyways. But that's cool to hear. Dude, I feel like the main thing behind that sound was, and going into Masochist was like rebellion against like metalcore at that time. Like we were just kind of like, dude, we don't want to do this like seeny weeny fashion core like Orange County sound. Yeah.
18 Visions.
Yeah, like let's say 18 Visions and shit. Like we don't want to like be like whiny and emo, like all these like little like singy metalcore bands, and like Christcore is like huge at this time, which like Christian metalcore and shit. And like we were like, dude, like this stuff's soft. It's weak as fuck, and like our guitarist is really getting into death metal and shit. So our like horizons are being so broadened, and we're like, this is like heavy, this is hard. The shit that's popular right now, we fucking hate, and it's soft, and it's fucking like bitch made, and also like we weren't popular, so we had like a definite like stick up our ass about it, like or not stick up our ass. I should say what I meant to say is like a chip on our shoulder about it. So that's why I would describe it as just being kind of a rebellion. So we weren't going to do like any more melodic parts, right? So I know Incinerate kind of has one like really kind of like funny like mellow death riff in it. There's that like two-step part. But that was written like before Masochist and shit. So like the rest of the sound was all like we wanted it to be like Alex would know better about what he was influenced by like death metal wise, but I know he like really liked like Suffocation, and we liked like Aborted and shit. And then we liked like hardcore too, because we like that's kind of the scene we came from, was like one where we weren't ever really like accepted into this sort of like scene kid like sector area. I mean, yeah, like we were like fuck white belts and shit. Like we were just gonna like dress normal and like try to play some death metal riffs with like Hatebreed parts, or at the time it was probably like Terror. Like Terror had like their first album out.
You guys definitely have like a hardcore undertone for sure. Like there's a lot of songs on Masochist that you can tell that are like, very hardcore influence, like the riffs and stuff and like two-step parts. Like you can definitely tell you guys were like, had some hardcore and stuff.
Yeah, that's just like where we came from. Like it wasn't weird to like be into both, because there wasn't a shit ton of bands as there would be later. So it's like if you were into hardcore or metalcore, and you wanted that was like the subculture you were going to be a part of. That's where your friends were from, and you want to go to shows and shit. You would just like go to both and shit. So you would, you would go see like some hardcore show, and then you would go to like the metalcore show the next weekend, and it was just like fucking whatever. It wasn't a big deal. It was only kind of later, as like both scenes were exploding, that there started to be like separation, and there were like kids there were like scene kids, and then there were like hardcore kids,
Yeah, but I also remember growing up too that like a lot of those shows were very diverse too, because they were kind of almost bringing the hardcore and hardcore kids together. Like I've never seen tours with like Born of Osiris, Winds of Plague, Terror. Like those are all three very different styles, but all in the same bill kind of thing. But I know what you're saying too. There's definitely times I went to like Michigan for shows. You can tell who the hardcore kids were, because they wanted to see the opening hardcore band, then they would just like fucking hate mosh everybody that was into deathcore wearing skinny jeans. Like I know what you mean too. Yeah. There was almost like a separation at a point too, but it was a weird time where I feel like everybody thought they were cool for listening to something they thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And fashion was like a big thing. I feel like everyone would call it fashion gore, and it was like, you know what I mean? How you were saying you guys were kind of rebelling against that, which makes sense, because you guys did not dress, like you guys dress like normal kids. You know what I mean? And all your like pictures and stuff, like it's just so it's like style. You just tell. But were you guys? Well, I used to see pictures of you and thought almost like you were like kind of preppy.
I'd wear like,
you know what I mean? Like
shirts and shit,
striped like sweaters and like.
I don't even really know what I was going for back then. To be honest, I was like, maybe trying to be like youth crew or some shit. But I don't even really know.
Wearing your polo shirts
and shit. Dude,
I never got into it.
I don't blame you. I don't fuck with that now.
One of those choices you're like, nah.
Yeah, well, a lot of things from that time are like that, where it's just like funny.
So when you guys, like, was there any actual deathcore bands you were influenced by when you made Masochist? Like, because obviously you have that deathcore sound, right?
From Pizza Supreme being shout out in Sacto for the best slice. We played this like 100 Demons show in Shingle Springs. Shingle Springs is like the little town where we were from. Not really like it's like a rural suburb, like kind of in between. And there was a community center there.
Right.
And it's like 40 minutes away from Sacramento. I have no idea why, but the dude from Hoods for some reason started booking shows there. It's so funny. So I like lived like 5 minutes away from it, but yeah, there was like this 100 Demons Hoods Elysia show there. There was like All Shall Perish played there once. Suffocate would probably play there like a couple times. Shit. Yeah, it's cool, man.
Suffocate. That's sick. But yeah, I guess going back to the like, was there any like actual like deathcore band you guys were into while making Masochist? No, that's okay.
Dude, okay, so Masochist has 3 re-recorded demo songs: Incinerate, Triumph, and Filthy. So those 3 are like older. I don't think those were really written with any sort of like knowledge of other modern like contemporaries of deathcore, I guess. But the rest of the album had to have been like had to have been, because I know like we had played some shows with Suicide Silence when like the drummer wore a mask and shit. They're like first drummer.
Yeah, Josh. Yeah.
And that was before.
I just released their stuff when they were Torn Within. He used to be in a band. Well, he's in the band now, Torn Within. They were actually, they played when Suicide Silence was still small, and Ash and Mike Bodkins from Suicide, Mike played on the EP Cleansing and No Time to Bleed, and then Ash wrote the whole EP for Suicide before he left, and then But they reformed anyway. They
Uh-huh.
put out an EP like last year,
Oh, cool.
Torn Within. But it's really cool stuff. But yeah, Josh is the drummer now for them.
I definitely remember
drummer.
that. Like remember them and just being like the like Family Guy demo is speaking of ones from that era that I think are still sick. That Family Guy demo is really fucking good. It is a really good recording. Like it's just really fucking raw, and the guitars sound really heavy. And then it would have been like I think Despised Icon had put out The Healing Process. Is that what it's called? The Healing Process?
Yeah, I think that was 05.
It sounds weird as I say it out loud. I'm pretty sure that had been out. So there was some
I think that was an 05.
Some deathcore for sure. And there was always some kind of like proto bands, I guess, like maybe like we're
lost your voice. They were letting off for a little bit.
There were some proto bands that I would say are like deathcore, but like didn't know they were deathcore, like Glass Casket.
Okay.
Really liked Glass Casket.
Glass Casket.
And then I loved and still love this band called Premonitions of War. Their first LP was really fucking sick, and then they had one called like Kowloon or something. Left in Kowloon, dude. That album's fucking hard as shit, dude. And it's like really fucking good. And like I don't think they knew they were making.
It's like kind of
it's like
grindy,
grind core. Yeah.
It's so good.
And then that Deadwater Drowning EP was like kind of accidental deathcore.
Yeah, that was another Nate Johnson. I think Nate did vocals for a bit for Premonitions, and then he was also vocals for Deadwater.
So he was on something.
Maybe it's him.
Yeah.
He was. He's hopped around a lot on different bands, but I feel like everything he touches is pretty good.
I'm trying to think what else was out. I think Hate Malice Revenge was out by All Shall Perish, which that has like a lot of
All Shall Perish,
in it. But also was kind of one of the first things where you started hearing like suffocation riffs, like real like death metal and stuff. Yeah.
Right. When did Oakland from Suffocate come out? Was that after you or like?
Oakland was probably out before Masochist, I think.
I want to say that was before. Yeah, I feel like it was like an 05 release, but that album was. I remember first hearing that, and I was like, yeah, like with Ricky or before with
dude. So with Jared
his name was
rest in peace, Carlos, when they had a second singer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's wild.
Yeah, dude.
I never got fully. Someone wants to know what the sample is from Disgust.
Wow, that's crazy. Someone knows that. Though it's like we had this intro sample for Line of Judas, and then Ferret heard it, and they're like, what's this from? And I like sent them the movie, and they're like, oh yeah, we can't license this, and so it was never put on that album, but I think later after we were broken up, we like put it on the MySpace player. Right? No, fuck, no, dude, I'm way off.
Okay.
You said Discuss? Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Yeah. That's the sample. That's the sample on Masochist.
What were you talking about?
Right?
Yeah, I think it's the intro song, right? Like the short little 43 seconds,
that's
something like screaming and
from not the new Gnome Bomb Batch White Noise that came out on Netflix a couple months ago or a month ago, but an old White Noise with Michael Keaton, maybe. This kind of like bad horror movie that I don't remember much about, but there's like a scene where it's called White Noise, so there's like a white noise scene on the TV where that sample is from. Right.
Oh, is it like a 2000 movie?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it's. I'm thinking of the. I think the cover is like black and blue, says white noise and white. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever seen it,
I don't know if it's good, dude.
but I think I know what you're
I don't
talking about.
remember, but I remember like just hearing that and
Yeah.
being like, dude, that sounds so fucking sick. And uh, and it kind of fits thematically because there's someone like yelling pig a lot, and we're like, oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. We like say
That's
pig
primo. And then I know you guys sampled the movie
Oh
Seven
yeah, that
too,
would be
right?
how
With Brad Pitt and
the album ends. It ends with Morgan Freeman. So funny.
yeah, Morgan Freeman with the quote from fuck, I forget the guy's the author's name.
Oh, Ernest Hemingway. Yeah.
Ernest Hemingway. I was just gonna say Ernest Hemingway. Yeah. Hell of a movie too.
Yeah. Is there any other samples on that album?
There's the 40,000 people die each day.
It's Sean Penn on a lesser known Oliver Stone film called God. It's also not that good. There was just like a period of before this album where every time I was watching a movie, I was like looking for shit like this. And I was kind of also first getting into film, so I was like going through director filmographies and shit. So
and what about the other one where it says I think we should kill her?
Oh, that's Salad Fingers. Yeah, do you know? Yeah.
Is it? I remember Salad Fingers. Oh, it must be. It must be a from Salad Fingers,
it's like
right?
From the videos. I don't think it's like.
Okay. Himself. He has a very distinct voice.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Now that you say that, I go, yeah. I think I like Jeremy Fisher and those little finger guys he has, right? Is that who it is?
Oh shit! The Sean Penn movie is U-Turn. Jennifer Lopez, and Nick Nolte, and Joaquin Phoenix. Damn. And Billy Bob Thornton and John Voight. Damn. It was stacked. Claire Danes is in it too.
And it still wasn't good.
I don't remember it being that good. I don't know. I'm not a big like Oliver.
I mean, if you don't remember
fan. He's kind of like
not even
like
not even his what you may call it there. No, the other one, Natural Born Killers.
It's so over the top. I'm surprised.
Yeah, no, that was good.
I'm surprised we didn't have a sample from that movie. It was like the most violent.
Samples are big back then. It's up there. It definitely is up there. Okay, so I'm gonna touch on Masochist again. We've still got some questions here, but I know we're getting kind of distracted with like on a tangent here, but anyway, so it's kind of a two-parter. The lyrics for Masochist are obviously, a lot of them are pretty harsh. Hatred towards a lot of stuff. How did you get into like government issues and stuff and social stuff at such a young age? And the second part is the lyrics that are towards like females. Was it someone that was like on like a breakup, or was it just like at the time you were like I know deathcore was very like had violent lyrics towards women, Awaken the Cadaver, like you know what I mean, like all those crazy bands. So it's like that was like the thing, like it's like a it was like a horror movie but with music. Like was it something that like was this a whatever to you, or was it like kind of directed with someone in mind?
It's funny that those
two parts. So the first part would just be
those two questions are
stuff.
about the same album, you know what I mean? Because they're like how did these two really different topics end up on the same album?
Right, because you can tell lyrically like which one is like about somebody and which one is like about society and the government and shit like that. So
man, it's like unfortunate to me looking back on it. Like I wish we could have just had 3 new songs so that we didn't have to re-record those demos and just would have had like a better thematic album. But
Right.
I remember we were like kind of out. It was like self-imposed time though, but we were like out of time. And I remember Alex was like kind of getting tapped out. Like he didn't. There wasn't another guitarist that like helped write Masochist. It was just Alex. Yeah. But anyways, to answer your question, no, like it's not about a person. The lyrics are about like killing a girl. It's not about anyone. It wasn't even really about like any of our feelings at the time. I think, as I had mentioned before, this wasn't really a band that was like popular yet or really accepted yet. And found some movement, right? With Incinerate being kind of violent, and then did Triumph, and then all of a sudden it's like we're getting popular. And so Filthy, I think, straight up was like just written to be cool. Like it's not about anyone. Those like definitely weren't my feelings at the time or anything. In fact, I had a nice girlfriend and everything. Yeah, just straight up thought that was like gonna help us out at the time, I guess. I don't know. Just trying to like be more popular and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like, yeah, because like what everyone was kind of, that was like the thing, right? Like a lot of people these days kind of be like, oh yeah, like old deathcore, as good as it was very like, you know, anti-woman or very, you know, like women brutality and stuff, and which I get, but it's the same as making a horror movie. Like that's why a guy even said like he loves that I said a horror movie with music. It's like, you know, it's
I think we had
if a director like Eli Roth can make a horror movie, you know what I mean? Like why can't someone write about it? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of the same thing in my mind.
Like I don't like it now. Like, you know, I wish we hadn't.
Right.
We probably wouldn't be having this conversation if we hadn't, because no one would have heard of us. But
I mean, they're probably your three best, biggest songs too, right? So
yeah, it's interesting. I like talking about it now. I think it's like an interesting topic, and like, you know, I did deal with like a lot of shame about it kind of as I was maturing, and like around Line of Judas and after Line of Judas, where I just didn't really want anything to do with that because it wasn't me and shit. And people draw all these conclusions about you, and you're like 22 and people are like judging you off of like 15 and 16, and like it just started like bumming out. So it was really only like later in life in my adulthood where I was kind of, I'm so like separate from that person now, you know, like so much older, where I'm like I've almost like forgiven myself for it, and I'm down to like talk about it and shit, because there's just so much like context too to have, and like sort of like the nuance of it, like you said, was that like that's kind of like what people liked back then, and like I mentioned, we're trying to make music that people like. We're young, so we like wanted people to like us and shit. And also, like, dude, like death metal at that time, like the popular death metal bands and shit were like terrible influences, you know, like we listened to like Aborted, you know, it was like, it was
Cannibal Corpse, like,
and to us, it was just like kind of like goofy and silly, and like, hadn't, it's like
almost for like a shock value thing, right? Like, too.
You're young and
like, you know, many shirts I used to own that had like really vulgar sayings on them. You know, impact
big,
font.
Bold impact font. Like,
you know what I mean?
Wanted those
big bold letters is like bash her fucking head in, and it's like, you know, it's just, and I used to wear those all the time. You know what I mean? And you know, when you're 17, 18, 19, 20, like it's cool. But I look back on it now at 34, almost 35, and I go, you know, like I wonder how many people I offended, or like I would never, I would never wear a shirt like that again. Like, even if the climate. You know, even if the social climate wasn't how it is now, I still wouldn't. But even now, you know what I mean? Like, you couldn't really write
yeah
lyrics like that.
It's just like
in
lame to
2020.
me too. Like I don't really think like to me like, and if an adult does it, it's like really fucking weird and lame. If there's like kids doing that right now, like at that same age, 16 or whatever, like they'll learn. You know, I think my advice to them would
Oh,
say
for sure.
like just don't,
No,
dude, because like when you get older, you might be like embarrassed about it, and it sucked to be in my 20s like through that decade, you know, where I'm like working like normal jobs and shit, and like there'd be like, you know, Cheryl in HR who's like a sweetheart 55-year-old. It's like, oh, you were in a band, and I have to be like, yeah, but like I don't want you to know about it and shit, you know, like having to keep it a secret and stuff, and like
right.
I still like kids are you're gonna end up regretting it if that's what you're doing. And it's not like it's funny because you know, I said earlier when you asked what was up, like what was going on in our heads with the Masochist sound and style, I'm saying like we're rebelling against this shit, this emo shit that we think is like soft and whiny and like weak and stuff.
Right.
And then but when you do
like,
this sort of like kill your ex shit, like that's soft as fuck too, man, because you're like you're just tripping about like some girl who like broke up with you or something, like, and instead of writing like some emo like I'm gonna slit my wrists, you're like I'm gonna slit your wrist now. It's like through our rebellion, that's the same shit to me. Like you're still just like fucking soft, like fuck boy, like get over that shit, dude. It's like it's tougher, and it's like you show more strength by like just being like resilient and like not tripping over that type of stuff, and like really hard to have that mindset at like 16 and stuff. But that would be my advice to people. And then again, we're making angry music, looking for things to be angry about, and we're young, and there's not much to be angry about, dude. Like, you know,
well, girls,
it's just
like the biggest
like
thing
straight
when
up,
you're 17 years old, you know what I mean?
And so finally, to arrive to the first part of your question, how did we become like a socio-political band? That would be so. I always liked punk. Like I got into it to hardcore, metalcore, and metal and shit through punk. Kind of.
Like Anti-Flag,
dude, like Punkorama, like those epitaph things, dude. Like
yeah,
I straight up like didn't even really have full-length albums from bands. I would like just listen to Punkorama and like songs from the Penalty Box, which was like a Tooth and Nail or Solid State Sampler, like one of those. And I was just like copying my brother and stuff, but my older brother who was into punk. So, dude, basically that was like always a part of me. And then we knew like we were like done. We were like done with this kind of kill your ex type of like bullshit. It's 2006, right? We're getting older. We're getting like maybe nearing voting age. I think we're like 17 or something. And just becoming more like politically aware. Like fucking Iraq war started, right? Like,
so this is
Bush,
with Bush
who takes us into Iraq, and like, I'm 13 after 9/11. So after that, you know, Afghanistan, it all makes sense, right? You're like, yeah, well, fucking the Twin Towers were just blown up. Like, of course we're gonna go to war with somewhere, and then what is that? Like 4 or 5 years later or something? 4 years later, like all of a sudden we're in Iraq. Yeah. I'm like getting older and shit, and I'm just like, what? Why are we here? What's happening? So combo of that, you know, punk, that listening to death metal made me very like anti-religious. You know, I mean, that was like primarily the lyrics that I liked were from bands that were like Immolation and shit was always really anti-religious, and I like those lyrics and stuff. it wasn't that like unique what we were doing. There's plenty of like metalcore and hardcore bands that were political too. So, um, you know, yeah,
Right. Yeah, for sure.
like going back to
Like
Incinerate, which was like the first political song. It's like this song that it's like an anti-homophobic song that says the F word. It's really, really weird because
right.
I had just kind of become aware of, which is something that people probably know now. It's probably more common knowledge now where that word comes from. It's because of it's what a bundle of sticks were called. And you would light a bundle of sticks on fire to like burn an undesirable at the stake or something. And that's kind of how that word began. So that song is basically about like burning homophobes over a fire, over a bundle of sticks. And so that's why it's like, who's fucking now, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. Which I years later, someone had said that before. I read it somewhere, and I was like, because when I first heard Masochist, I was like, okay, like, but that was like a word that people threw around back then. You know, like Eminem was fucking. You know what I mean? Like, that was just a word that was like. There was a lot of words that people used back then that were just like way not into. You know, you can't do that now, right? So, so when I heard it, I thought it was just like I didn't understand it. I really didn't think you guys were obviously bashing like the gay community or something, but but years later, I forget where I read it, but someone was like, "Oh, it's like an anti."
Well, you know what
I mean?
It's like covered that thing I just talked about and explained it really well. It was like a long time ago, and kind of a weird show to bring up now, but the Louis C.K. show has this scene where this really like earnest scene. Like a lot of the scenes in that show where there's like a comedian who is like asking his friend like why he's so comfortable with using that word, and he describes what I just said, like its history, its etymology, like where it comes from, why people started using that, how like hateful and like violent that word could be. I feel like a lot of people probably saw it. This was a really popular show and shit, and it was cool when I saw that a long time ago. I was like, dude, that's what the song's about. And
no, I get you. His show was actually really cool. I feel like, you know, his stuff came forward, but I mean, yeah, there was a lot of like I feel like that show he really dealt with like a lot of stuff that people don't like to think about, and it gave you like a lot of thinking. But no, I definitely get it, and it's even cooler that knowing now the detail of why you use the F word. Because like I thought, like when I read that it was like an homophobic song, I went, okay, well that's cool, but then still didn't understand the word, and why it was used. But now that you explain it, then you kind of go, oh, like that makes a lot of sense.
It was like written the same day too. Like we had
really cool
flyers distributed at my high school that were like some church came by and just like handed them out to people on campus that were like men kissing and shit, and it was like you're going to hell and like fucked up, like kind of like Westboro Baptist type shit, dude. Like, and that's what
I
clicked
forgot
for
about
me,
those
and that's
guys.
when the song was written. And dude, I probably
also it's around that time then,
like,
where
honestly,
like
because and I really loved. There's a song I could think of too that was about Westboro that I took inspiration from called "Arsonist" by Between the Bear and Me, like on their self-title. Yeah, so kind of like that song, this fire thing happening, kind of being into punk and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and then
so kind of like a boiling pot of multiple things. Yeah. No, that's cool though. It's cool that you cleared it up though too, because I feel like it's like it's good to know the actual like thought process behind not only the album but Incinerate itself, right? Like it's cool. It's cool to have the knowledge now. You know what I mean? So someone asked me, what was the line of that recorded Masochist?
The three best friends, Alex, Kevin, and I. Yeah.
Okay. And then live, you guys, what, just had like people come in?
So there's kind of like the like and up to Masochist era, which was like our two homies a grade below us, and they both of them got replaced by two other homies a grade below us.
Okay.
And that kind of leads up to Masochist.
That's cool.
And then once Masochist is recorded, there's like the touring Masochist like touring lineup, which because Alex quit. Dude, I wrote down. I knew you were gonna ask this, so I wrote this down. I wrote down just kind of like an overview of this to help remember too.
No, that's
yeah,
it's fine. I know it's been a long time, so I mean,
of the best friend lineup, right? Kevin, Alex, and I. When we graduated high school, and you know, a lot of people ask like, why were there lineup changes? But you have so many. It's like, well, we're a high school band, bro. So like, Kevin went to college in San Diego. Like he left. So when he left, we never really found like a permanent drummer for a while. We kind of just had like temps, right? So our homie Jake helped out for a tour. He was like in this band called Fate, local to Sac.
Oh, yeah.
He ended up don't even know how they all met each other and shit. Oh no, yeah, dude. He would have met Molotov Solution on tour with Elysia. He ended up becoming their drummer. And I think.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's cool.
If and when, and if they already have, like, they're supposed to be recording again or something. But I think he's the drummer for it too. So still does that, which is pretty tight. That's cool. And then we have there's like a lot of people don't know this. There's another universe where there's a re-recorded Masochist album. But it didn't happen in this universe because of the dude who helped us after Jake, who I have this sort of caricature now of, this funny caricature of, as like the villain of Elysia, is this dude who drummed for us during this time, because we were like we were gonna re-record and re-release Masochist on Tribunal, which is why we're on one of their samplers. If anyone's ever wondered, why the fuck are they on this sampler? It's because we were gonna do this, and like we had a studio time booked with Zach Gorin, I think was his name, at Castle Ultimate. So like a way better studio than where Masochist was recorded. Castle Ultimate did like All Shall Perish, Animosity, Killing the Dream, like it.
Also, they did
like any good
California.
Big NorCal shit was there, and I think even SoCal bands went up there too because he was like that good. And then day of recording, he doesn't show up. The drummer, our buddy, that's the sampler, doesn't show up. I remember calling him, and he was like, acted kind of like he wasn't like, no, fuck you guys, I'm not coming. He was like, hey, I'm like up here in Reno, like, sorry, I can't make it today. We're like, okay, so tomorrow? And he's like, yep. And we're like, not a big deal, minus one day, like that sucks, but we can make it up. Maybe we record vocals later or something. Second day comes, and we only have 5 days booked. Second day comes, no show, no call. I call him. Surprise, he even really answers, and he's just like, hey, dude, like, I'm at my friend's fight in Reno or some shit like that, whatever that means. And I think finally it's just like, yeah, I'm not coming. So basically just kind of like quit that way. I remember Matt from Tribunal was, dude, just like trying to find a drummer. He was maybe going to fly a drummer that he knew where he's from North Carolina. It just didn't work out. We like never re-recorded it because of this dude who fucked us over. That fucking guy, dude.
That guy. And what year would this be in?
Probably like '07. Because I was still Alex. Alex was still playing.
Oh, so you're gonna re-record it like after it's been out for a year?
Yeah.
Why, you guys? Do you not like the production of Masochist?
I don't really like.
Are you kind of like?
I think then I probably still liked it, but we just knew like dude, like the names, the bands who recorded at Castle Ultimate, we were just like, oh my god, dude, like we like wanted to do that so bad, and then it would be officially released by a label, Tribunal, you know, so we're like, cool, dude, we're gonna be on like our real label and shit.
Yeah.
And
that would have been sick. That would have been wild. Yeah, Tribunal's got some. Actually, he was just in here, I think, Matt.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Dive Bomb Records.
That's his new one, right?
Yeah, his new one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. Let's see here.
Oh yeah.
Someone
just asked
something
about
up here.
that sound clip again. It's from a Salad Fingers video. Yeah.
Salad Fingers.
If you don't know what that was, it was a weird, fucking really weird, like E-Bombs World video or something, or some shit like that.
His name was David Fisher. David Fisher or David something. He made weird videos. He had a whole website. He did like Burning Face Man videos and weird like. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. He still has a website. You can still watch him. What did I miss? A lot. And this guy up here, Oratorio in Gray, Teaser Pleaser, sticker in the freezer.
Yeah,
a real release, brother. You missed it. That's hilarious. Are you reading the comments too, Zach?
Oh yeah, dude. Let me come back down to the bottom though. Dude,
there's so many.
Dude, stop.
There's a bit
history right there. It's so true, dude. It would have sounded great. It would have really sounded great. And Alex actually would have had help this time recording it too, which he would have fucking loved. He would have really loved that. He wouldn't have got like burnt out or anything. He had like a really good friend who was great at guitar. Come down to the studio. So, dude, it's like a total what could have been situation right there.
Yeah. I wonder what would have happened with the band if that was the route. Or do you think it just would have still panned out the way it did, just you would have repressed, like you would have just had a re-recording of Masochist and then went back on the path that it eventually was
young and shit. Like any small thing would have had a butterfly effect and changed the trajectory like massively. I feel like so. If that happened, things I don't know how they would have been different, but they would have been totally fucking different too. No.
Yeah, I wonder. So when you say the three best friends, do you still talk to those guys?
Not the drummer too much. I follow him on Instagram and stuff. And then Alex, if anyone is curious, if anyone like really loves the Masochist era, my last band Vritra, he is the guitarist of. It's not like metalcore or deathcore or anything. It's like it's like a sludge black metal band. But check that out. It's maybe in my bio still.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it is because someone asked me today what other bands you were in, and
it's sick, dude. If you
myself.
like just like metal
wasn't in
and
there.
stuff, I fucking love that. Like that's my favorite music project I've ever done.
And is it something that you did one time, or is it still active?
I hope it's still active, but it's not. But I hope it can be again. Someone's getting mad. I'm ignoring too many questions. I'm so sorry. Oh god, let me go up a little. Maggot Stomp's a sick ass record label. I love caveman death metal and shit.
Yeah.
I love like muddy ass, just like gross fucking recordings. There's this dude who does this project called Cabinet. That's fucking really nasty, filthy death metal shit. There was this EP by a band called Contusion last year that was badass. Contusion with a K. That's it kind of in that sound you might like. And I kind of like how there's like these hardcore death metal bands that they don't call themselves deathcore, but like they play death metal and hardcore, kind of maggot stop style bands like Body Box are fucking really hard. And I just love, dude, like one of my favorite hardcore bands is Cruelty with a K from Japan. So fucking sick. They just play like really knuckle dragging, like Smooth Brain, just fucking like their death metal influence is like Coffins from Japan. And I'd probably also say like Cyanide from Chicago. This old death metal band that are like really they're kind of like simple, like death doom. So it's kind of like slow death metal. And dude, Cruelty is fucking sick. What happened in Phoenix? I was inside. I know what you're talking about. I was inside the venue with Matt from Dive Bomb here, if he's still in here, and we were arguing. Well, Matt was arguing, and I was just there being like, with the venue owners who I think were trying to like not pay us or stiff us or something. I don't really know. And then someone runs in, and they're like, "There's a fight! There's a fight!" And we run out, and it turns out it was dudes in Elysia, it's dudes in our band. It ended up being Alex Garrett, and they kind of got jumped. Like they were like beat up when we got out there, and no one was like around or anything. They weren't too fucked up. They're kind of just like sitting there licking their wounds and shit. What happens? Some dude was giving Alex shit about lyrics and stuff. And Alex is the guitarist, dude. So he was like, he's like, what the fuck? He's like, fuck off, like go away. And, I think I heard from them that when he said fuck off, they like jumped him and shit. And then when I got out there, there was like these dudes from like the big tough crew in Phoenix at the time, and they like pulled me aside, and I was like, oh, is this my beating? And they're like, that wasn't us. We want you to know, like, we didn't have anything to do with that. They wanted to like impress us or something.
Did it work?
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, that's what happened in Phoenix.
Did you get that a lot though? Like, did people not like the lyrics? Like, were they kind of like a one-off, isolated situation?
Yeah. Dude, not until we did Ruiner and This Is Hell, which was like 2008 or something. And that was like the peak point where like hardcore was completely severed from metalcore, and there was a lot of hostility. Like if you were in hardcore, you were probably 22. You were probably formerly a sceney like metalcore kid, and you had to hate it, you know what I mean? And I don't know, maybe rightfully so in some ways. I think in one ways that it's rightfully so is just that sort of like misogyny that we talked about. I think hardcore kids were right to despise that about metalcore and shit. No one like ever wanted to like fight us on that tour, but there'd be times we'd be like hanging out in our van and someone would walk by and be like, "Oh, dig a ditch," not in like a cheerful way, but in like an antagonizing way.
Right.
Story,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Behind the chicks. Oh, the girls. Oh, you mentioned this before with the song titles on their stomachs. The story. I don't know.
Chicks,
dude, there isn't really like a story. They just did it, and sent it to us.
Yeah.
It's.
Do you ever wonder?
Well, we did.
What they're up to these
we
days?
met them. All three of them. Like in Virginia or something. In Virginia, actually. And also, like I said, it's not really a story. It was uneventful. It was like awkward. We're just like, hey, that's you, huh? Cool. Okay. No.
Some groupies or something?
I don't know. One of them I saw again at another Virginia show, and she was cool. I talked to her a second time. I thought she was really nice and sweet, and she was cool. I think she was getting into hardcore and stuff actually. But I don't know. I have
that's
no
cool.
idea what would have happened to him. It's weird. Like in my age now, I nothing really bothers me about that time, but it does bother me when people like post that photo because they're underage. It's fucking weird. Like what? Like
are
dude,
the underage
well, we all were, right? You know.
Well,
so
I guess yeah.
It's fucking weird when people post it on the internet or ask me about it on the internet or anything.
So here we
Well,
am bringing it up again.
Someone else did.
Well, I didn't know they were underage. Like I thought they were.
Yeah, you sick fucks.
I don't, you know.
They're underage.
This is just a big dude.
Fucking
this is the
FBI's
catch
coming for
Predator.
you.
Chris Hansen's coming.
Do you like Bay Area stuff? Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, Tsunami's cool. I like Resent, Doomsday. Dude, the Bay is fucking sick, dude. Their hardcore scene is like tough, and it's always been tough. It's like a fucking hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Kids out here fucking do it for real and shit. Bay is for real.
Yeah, for real. You're not. I was gonna say it's very. It's a lot more real than like other places hardcore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's really diverse too, man. Like I just like, love that about the Bay's population in general. It's really diverse, and that's reflected in the hardcore scene for sure. And I think it's cool. I think hardcore that's important to them too. That's cool.
Absolutely. Let's see here. So I guess with we're gonna get into kind of lines of Judas and stuff. But how did like Ferret come about? Were you shopping for labels?
I just have to stop reading comments for a sec. Yeah, we were shopping labels. Dude. Like at this point, we had managers, like plural, who were like really trying to push us out there, and so we were. I think we kind of came down to like 3: Ferret, Victory,
okay, and
I don't really remember the third one.
Oh, cool.
I was trying to remember before this, and it was like I don't really remember. It's like maybe I don't know. We had managers too, right? Like so, like a lot of that bullshit I didn't have to deal with. So, but Victory, I do remember, wanted us to showcase, which is where you like come to them and you play like in their offices to staff and shit, dude. So like, fucking awkward and like,
awkward.
Not what the band was about at all. What like this band was about. It was like a spectacle. You had to just come see it, dude. Like it was a lot of like crowd participation and shit. The pits were nuts, dude. People stage diving and shit. It was just sick. You had to come see it. And we told them that, and they actually flew someone out to a show while we were on tour to West Palm in Florida. Why there? I don't really know. Maybe it just worked out with their schedules. So yeah, this dude comes to the show. Yeah, we knew.
And do you know beforehand?
I think we met him.
Did you try and make the show cooler
beforehand? Well, I think we like just try to play on top of our game and shit. Like no one drank.
Yeah.
I didn't drink anyways back then, but I think everyone stayed straight for that. And there was like a bunch of mace went off during that set, and everyone had to evacuate. And we never finished. Like that just like ended the show. It was like mid-set or something. That's
so fun. Hey, but you still won over, so it must have been good.
It probably helped, dude. It kind of added to this lore of like, oh, this band's like really like chaotic and energetic and shit, and people go off to them. They fucking mace people. So he like took us to Denny's afterwards, dude, and yeah. Man, like by then though, like all the bad shit about whatever that dude's name was at Victory, all the negative, rumors and shit. It was like all out there. So we were like really skeptical about him. And I remember like being up front with him, and I like asked him something, like really direct about it, a specific thing, they have like been accused of or something. And he's like, oh, like what? And I was like, yeah, well, like I heard our friends from this other band that you were talking to told us they didn't go with you because of like for some reason. Like, can you speak to that? I don't remember what the reason was, but I remember something actually like Mitch told me from Suicide Silence. He like told me there was something about like the Victory contract that like scared him away. I don't remember what, but I asked the guy this, and he was like, "Oh, who's that? I've never heard of him." And we're like, "You haven't heard of Suicide Silence?" Like, you're either just like playing dumb because it's like I'm asking you an embarrassing question, or you don't know, and like that's concerning because that's like our genre at the time, and like you should know if you want to sign us, right? Like, yeah, just was never super keen on that. And then Ferret was dope, dude. Like they had the sickest lineup, I thought. Like their roster was diverse. It had kind of like the legendary shit that we loved when we were first getting into it and stuff, into metalcore, hardcore. And then it had like a current roster that I still thought was badass, that was still like really diverse, that really like launched a ton of bands too. Dude, I just thought they were fucking sick, and they were really nice, and like it didn't feel like an office. It didn't feel like just like a professional business thing. Like they're laid back. It just felt like some dudes. Yeah.
Right.
Tony, yeah, that's the Victory
like,
name, I guess.
Well, Victory had a lot of problems with a lot of bands, so you probably avoided quite the
situation. Oh, totally, dude, yeah. That was a super good choice. Super good choice. And we were a band who I feel like notoriously made bad choices and poor choices and stuff. And so, yeah. It was like, well, we
was turning around at that point.
That helped out a whole lot.
Right. So someone asked, what do you think about people buying your CDs at a high price?
Oh, one, I feel bad for them, and then two, like it's cool. Like it's like, oh, how flattering! Like people like it that much. Like that's cool, and like having something have a lore like that is kind of cool too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of a love-hate feel, like, you know what I mean?
Just a really funny question here. Did you ever?
Which one?
Skull passing. Did you ever lay down the pipe on one of your fans respectfully? Like, do you mean was I respectful, or are you saying like respectfully asking?
I think he means, yeah. I saw that earlier, and I.
But, dude, most of the time I had a girlfriend actually through Elysia. We were playing Long Island. Fire Marshal shut down. Yeah. I think that might have been This Is Hell's from Long Island, and their CD release show was in Long Island when we were on tour with them, and it got shut down during our set. But I thought it was for like a fight or something.
Oh, really?
So maybe he's talking about something else.
Yeah, I saw that the fire marshal closed it down.
I don't know I certainly don't know what the last Elysia show was. I have like two conflicting shows. It was either in NOLA in New Orleans, where maybe I feel like that was it. Just the last show of whatever tour that was. Yeah.
Did you guys know it was the last tour? Did you guys abruptly like break up like mid-tour, or
we didn't know it was over, but no, we didn't know it was over until we got home.
Oh, so you like finished?
We actually had another tour. There was a scheduled tour with Shia Lude and Full Blown Chaos, and then I feel like we never like announced breakup, we just dropped off that tour. Like, hey, sorry, we're not doing this tour.
Oh, so you actually played a bit and then like
what's
done. That? I said you just like you guys actually played a bit from that Shai Hulud
we dropped
tour
it
and then
started. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They were so nice too.
The Pat.
I was going through some like kind of like health issues. What it ended up being was like I was just massively depressed and had a general anxiety disorder, and like no one really talked about those things back then, and it manifested really physically to where I like felt ill. And so I had to do like all these tests when this happens, because they have to like rule things out. Maybe something's wrong with your thyroid. Maybe you fucking have Lyme's. Like you have to do all these like tests and shit. And that was going on kind of right before this tour, and so I dropped off for like health reasons, basically, which ended up being like, oh, you're just like manically depressed.
That's wild. So that's kind of what ended it.
So we dropped off that tour, and then like no one in the band ever was like, "What's up? Like, let's get it going," or anything. So it was like unspoken. Like there was no announcement, but even between the band members, like it was totally unspoken, dude. Like, yeah, never really talked about it.
So kind of fizzled out, and then just
like
went
a fizzle
on with your
out.
lives separately.
Totally.
Interesting. So Deathcore CD Guardian. Zach does talk about the lyrics and stuff, but once I'll post this on my Instagram when it's done, and you can watch it and get it. I don't want to have to repeat it. So what was the like? I'm guessing the lineup change for Lions of Judas was different than Masochist. What was the writing? Because the style is obviously very much different than Masochist. So what was your goal with that record? Like, what, you guys are obviously older now, different influences. Like, what was kind of the mindset and stuff going in to record that album?
So the Alex wasn't in the band anymore, who wrote Masochist. And we had a couple touring guitarists, I think, like turned over once or twice, and then signed Ferret. And then when it was time to make a record, I didn't feel like we had like a vision together. We were kind of just like people who were playing Masochist, right? And I felt like, honestly, like I actually told our manager that I feel like we need to break up. You know, like I was like, I can't like write a record with this crew. And they even if they wanted to, like I don't feel like it would have been, we wouldn't have like agreed on a sound or something, you know what I mean? So we're like in this really like kind of strange position. And meanwhile we're like touring this whole time. So one of the guitarists from like that era leaves, and he gets replaced through our managers, who did this really like kind of nice, what ended up being like a really nice like roster move, I guess, for us, where they were like, hey, we know this dude who guitar techs for the Warriors, because I think they managed the Warriors, but he's a guitarist. You should talk to him. And so we talked to him, and he came on board, and his name was Chris, and he helped us out so much with just like professionalism. And he was like a guitar tech, so he could fix things and shit, where before we were like SOL. If something broke on stage, we'd be like, oh fuck. Yeah, just like really like talented professional like guitar player. which we had just been missing during this period. So kind of like shored up one position, but still didn't really have anyone where like I would want to like write music with. And so I approached my managers like, I feel like this band's done. They were like, hey, you just signed to a label. Like, is there anything we can do? Like, basically, like, what would you need to do? And I was like, I would write an album with my homie Garrett because we're like best friends at this time. He lives by me, and I like hear riffs he makes at home. Like, but he's not in the band, although he was at one point back in the day. And they basically had just like suggested this idea, and then like, okay, like, why don't you do another roster change? You know, you keep Chris, but you bring in Garrett to basically like write this album. And I was like, yeah, we can do that. And so that's what we did. And then our drummer was solid at the time. I didn't mention that. We were really short up on drums and bass with Steven and John. And so that ended up being like the final 5 lineup, like the Line of Judas lineup was that until the very end. Yeah.
So at one point you were basically the only original
member. Except for Garrett coming back. I consider Garrett an original member.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, if you didn't bring him in, it was all like just
totally
going to be, which is kind of weird because usually people like, how do you put a band together and then want to write something in such a short time and expect it to be any good?
Yeah.
You guys don't know each other.
You have to listen
to
music together. You need to hang out and listen to music, and that's what Garrett and I did. And like, that sound was like basically based on our Line of Judas sound was based on like him and I's like listening habits at the time. He had this cool kind of like outsider perspective too, where like heavy music probably wasn't like his main thing. He was like super into like indie rock and shit. And lots of his riffs, honestly, that ended up being on Line of Judas were like written to be like indie rock riffs. And we were like, okay, but like distorted, down-tuned, slowed down or something, fucked with, chopped up somehow. Like this becomes a sick ass, like kind of like convergy riff, basically.
Yeah, people definitely said it was like a very converged.
Yeah, that was like
the
main band that like all 5 people were like. That all 5 people were into. And then.
So did you not want to write another like deathcore album?
I didn't. I wasn't into it anymore. And there's also the thing that like we wrote the only album that we could write. Like that band couldn't have produced a deathcore record. Like if we had, when we sent demos to Ferret, if they're like, this isn't what we signed up for, where's the deathcore, we would have been fucked because like no one in that band really listened to death metal anymore. I was over it. This is like a period where I was like, I just kind of thought death metal in general sucked. That period, if you look back at it for like good death metal records, there's like, I don't know, I don't really like find any. Like the 2000s, kind of like later 2000s, it's kind of like a rough period for death metal until the 2010s when kind of there's like this old school death metal revival and shit, and then now where it's like such a great genre. But yeah, so there was no one that could have written deathcore in Elysia at that time. There was a song we tracked when we tracked Line of Judas that was kind of based on Masochist, but it obviously didn't fit the rest of the songs. And at the time, I thought it sounded like a cover.
You're covering
like
old
someone covering
Masochist era.
It had that thing where like the riffs sounded like Masochist riffs and not like, it didn't make me think of like death metal bands and shit. But I re-listened to it recently and like feel like I didn't give it enough credit. It's pretty good. But there's nothing to release from it. If anyone's like, well, let me hear that. There were no vocals or anything. It was just like rough recorded.
Oh, okay. Because that's my next question was. I wonder if it's like still floating around or anything. But
sorry, there's no secret
deathcore
song.
Everyone's was like, drop it. I want to hear it. You sparked something, Zach. So do you think if the lineup was the same as Masochist, what would Lion of Judas sound like? Or like, do you think it would have been the same way, or do you think it would still have a little more death metal?
There's definitely like a period in 2007 where, again, in another universe, there could have been a second in between album that would have been from Alex, and he had like brought in his homie on guitar. He's my friend too, but like at the time, his homie Mark, and they were both just like super into that shreddy shit. Like they had this garage, dude, where they just shredded like necrophagous stabs like into the wee hours of the mornings.
Wow.
They were sick, but we never could really find a drummer because we really needed like something crazy, someone really good. I mean, and this kind of that period where a drummer fucks us over, and then Alex left, and then his friend Mark stayed because we had become friends, and I think he was like having fun and shit. But he just kind of toured,
right.
And then when it came time to write, like left. But if the two of them had stuck it out, there would have been like another record in 2007 for sure. That would have been like really death metal, deathcore. Like I would have been like, I know I would have been like fighting like for breakdowns if they wrote that album. Because and like part of the reason Alex left was because he was so like metal, dude. Like metalcore, deathcore. He was like, this shit sucks, dude. Like,
right.
You know, he's on like, you know, message boards and shit where he's getting super deep into like death metal and anytime like a deathcore band's brought up, it's just like totally trashed and shit.
Just ripping into them.
Totally. So
that's crazy. I didn't think there'd be like an in between album. That makes me go, I wonder what it would have sounded like. Probably would have been.
That's another thing. I wish I could hear it.
Insane. Yeah. Like I wonder. So do the other guys still write music and stuff?
Yeah. So funny again. So Vitra is Alex and Mark. Those two guys. So Mark's the other guitarist.
Oh, that's right.
In that project.
Do you guys ever talk about like writing again for?
No, man. Like it was
like
so hard to make that Vitra album with them, and we put it out in like 2016. I would have loved to have made an album every 3 years with that band, but we haven't since, and it's like been 6 years now. So if we can't make music for this project that we all love, we can't make music for Elysia, which would be kind of more like a job or something. Like I would do it and have fun with it, but it wouldn't be like a passion project like Vitra is to me.
I see. Okay. That's a bummer. I just wonder if like nostalgia hit you guys and you're just like, you know what, let's fucking, you know, let's jam a little bit and see what happens kind of thing. A lot of bands do that now. Right?
That's kind of how Vitra started a little bit. Well, yeah, kind of like there was maybe this idea that we would reform Elysia in like 2013 or something.
Yeah, wasn't there like a little blip? Because I feel like
we got,
and there was like a picture
so
of
actually you're right. Yeah, we were totally gonna do it, enough so that it was like on the internet. I don't think like announced, but I think I was like on the internet being like, yeah, this is happening. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was like rumors and you know what I mean, like people talking.
What happened was our old managers were like, hey, our management company has a record label now too. They're like, we'll put out a record like fully funded for you guys if you give us one. And we're also like, and then no pressure to like play shows or something. So we're like sitting on our asses, you know, working shitty jobs, I was still living in Sacramento. I think all of us were. And we're like, dude, that just sounds fun. And it's like free. like we should do it. And we got into a room to start jamming. Every practice session, like someone would come in. So every day it was someone different. One of us would be like, I don't know if I can do this, guys. And then we convince them, dude, no, man, it's just for fun, like whatever. And then the next day I would come in and I'd be like, dude, it seems lame to do this. I don't think I could do this. And then when we started making music too, it was like, this doesn't make sense. There was no like core. We were kind of making like death metal. It really didn't make sense. And then we're like, if we started a new band, we could do any sound. And then that's how Richard was formed.
Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like, I see. So it wasn't its real intent, but it morphed into something else kind of thing.
Totally.
That's wild. That's interesting. So in 2023, are you proud of
I
both
like
records?
Mm.
Or is one better? Like, how do you feel toward them now, being an adult now? It's 2023.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years or so.
We had such a mindset, right? This like hostile sort of mindset that like we're saying this is better. Like we made a style change because it's better, right? But now I'm like, dude, both were tight. Like,
right.
I like both. I can listen to both still. I think the best Elysia song is Box of Needles. And then just in whole
from that album, both
of all the music.
Okay.
It's just so well like written. I remember when we demoed that song and sent it to Carl from Ferret. He was like, oh, is Kurt like Blue working with you guys already? Like while you're like writing stuff? And we're like, no. But yeah. It's funny too because like the rest of the album doesn't have that sort of skillful like songwriting as that one does, which has always been interesting. Like to me, a bunch of the songs are just kind of random riff after random riff. Yeah, but that song's like so formatted super well. I feel like it builds up super well. It's my favorite lyrics personally. I love that track. And then Masochist, I can listen to the track Masochist like anytime. That song's sick. I feel like that was our best song. It's like the most death metal. I feel like the breakdowns like hit the hardest. It's kind of long and not like catchy, which I like because to me that just kind of felt more like mature. I like the lyrics more. The lyrics are kind of it's ironic that like Filthy is on that album Masochist because the song Masochist is like me kind of reflecting on the error of like lyrics like that, of that mindset like that.
Okay. Right.
People are able to tell that, or if it would have to be like spelled out. But yeah, I love everything about that track. And then I feel like early material like Triumph is my favorite. Like the Triumph demo is fucking sick. Yeah. And then I would say my pick for the like most underrated track is Massacre. Is such a sick song. And man, like
I was gonna say when you're first talking about like the demos and stuff, and I was surprised Massacre didn't make it on the Masochist and re-recorded because that was like
I don't know
a hell of a song.
I was leading up to this. I'm reviewing things in my head over the last couple of days. I don't know why. Like that song's tight. I don't know why we didn't re-record it. And it's funny, really like that thing I was talking about how the Masochist sound and style is like a rebellion against like the trends in metalcore and shit. Like that's what the lyrics of that song are about. They're about like overly like emo shit, like the stuff we were trying to talk shit on. Yeah, it's a tight song.
Right.
But I think so.
No,
I'm kind of remembering now as I'm saying all this. I think it didn't make it back to Masochist because the live reception I think was like just kind of poor on it. Like people weren't really super into it. Yeah.
Really? That's so weird. It's weird how some songs will just click with the crowd and some don't. And it's like on the album it sounds great. Like on the demo it sounds good, but it's just weird that it translates to like the live crowd because I think it's like a solid song.
And you know, we were talking about Premonitions of War earlier. The first two tracks on Left and Kowloon are like these really like short, fast, punchy songs that just like hit into a breakdown and end. They're like a minute and a half. Like we straight up just ripped that off. That's what that song Massacre just is that. Like listen to the first two tracks and then listen to Massacre and you're like, oh, this is the same formatting. It's just like it's not really a blast beat. It's like super fast, kind of like circle pit thing. Well, another thing about the Elysia Masochist deathcore style is like there's actually not a ton of blast beats, because we were kind of always thinking about the crowd and shit, and we like want them to like circle pit and stuff. So like fast parts are usually like this sort of like back and forth hi-hat snare kind of like circle pit type beat.
Definitely crowd pleasers. Like that whole album, I feel like play it live. I think everyone kind of the reception from everyone would have been, you know, they're all definitely good to play live. Just wild that Massacre never. I meant to mention that the first time we were talking about like the discography of you guys, and I was going to mention that Massacre was such a good song. I was surprised it didn't get any more love after the demo.
When we like do this Masochist re-release, so put it at the end, you know, for sure, just to see if it can get any love.
You know, just like who was it, like Picasso or the artist? You know, once you're dead, then become more famous. Maybe Massacre will be the hit in 2023 or whatever. So I do want to touch on the Gulch show there. And how did that all come about? And like, you know, you know the band and stuff that they go to and be like, yo, we wanna do a little.
What's up, mate? Miss you, man. How'd that happen is what you're asking? Through like Twitter. Someone sent me or like messaged me, tagged me or some shit, but they were like joking around at their practice and like had a video of them like playing that part, and they're like, we'll play this if something. I don't remember what that something was, to be honest. And I like commented on it like, ha ha ha, some shit like that. So through that, the guitarist messaged me and was like, oh yo, like we straight up probably like want to play this, like probably are sometime. Would you be down to do it? And I was like, yeah, that sounds fun as fuck. And I love that band too. Like, so it was perfect. It was totally perfect. And and it was easy to agree to because it didn't really seem like a real possibility too. This was like mid-pandemic, like everything shut down, and it's not yet at that point where things opened up and got shut down again. This is still just like shut down. Is anything ever coming back type thing? And then so there's this fat fucking like San Jose outdoor show right when you're like kind of allowed to do things again. So no one's done jack in like a year. And yeah, they like told me again about it, and I was like, yeah, I said yeah. I fucking got to do this. It's so funny too, man. I got nervous and shit, dude. We got there, it was like such a big fucking crowd. I almost just immediately was like, oh, I can't do it. It's just not physically feasible. Like, how am I going to get up there? I can't do it. You know? And my girlfriend was with me, Allie. She was like, no. So we go to like behind the stage where there's like a little more room so we can get a little closer to the stage. And they start gigging. They start playing. I have no idea like when it's going to happen or anything. And then, you know, I don't know when it was, like halfway through or something. They're singer is just in between a song, like, "Yo, is Zach here?"
Yeah, I remember.
And I
remember that. Yeah,
I was like crawled through the crowd,
yeah.
slowly
Yes.
made my way up there.
If you listen carefully, when you walk up there, do you hear the guy say, "Holy shit," as he realizes who you are?
I heard that in the video, but yeah, not live. I did.
Funny. So was it? Did you practice beforehand, or you just go up there and just fucking wing it
at all?
Just
well,
swing.
I knew I like didn't really need to.
No, what?
Because.
Well, like, when's the last time you screamed in a live setting? At that point,
like 2018 or something, probably with Richa.
Okay, so you actually played live with them
then. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there were probably some like Richa practices afterwards too. Yeah, but yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it would have still been a couple of years.
But yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I also knew I knew too it was just that breakdown. Like they weren't playing the song, you know. So I was like, fuck
right,
it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
People will like sing along and shit too. So I just went up there and just like yell.
So what was your reaction to everyone else's reaction? Because that like went pretty viral.
Oh yeah, I know.
Like every group I was in, like 100 people were sharing it a day for like a week. Like it was like
dude,
buzz.
There's just so many factors that went into that because it's in general there like no one had played shows like anywhere in America. so like this was just if you lived anywhere, this was probably some of the first like footage of a hardcore show you're seeing. And then on top of that, this is like one of the most like what a spectacle this gig was. It was outside with 1,000 people there, with fireworks lighting off and shit. Gulch is at like peak of their hype after dropping an album and then not being able to play it because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was like a great bill too. It was like a mixed bill. So like them and Tsunami played, but I want to say like Creeping Death played, this like death metal band, I think. Didn't Zabalba play too? It was just like a sick ass show, dude. It was fucking tight, you know?
Yeah. And outdoors is sick too. Like why not?
And then someone got like a good video too, like pretty like professional video and shit. Yeah. So
that, right? Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, so it just got passed around a lot, and then like I shared it too. It was tight, dude. Like, yeah, super nostalgic, but in a fun way. Sometimes nostalgia, like I'm not that nostalgic, which is, I like rarely do things like this or like talk about it. You know, one, it was like a really long time ago, but two, it's I don't know. I just don't really like deal with nostalgia. I just kind of get over things and move on to other things, right? Sometimes it kind of, and when you get older too, nostalgia can be depressing. You could just be like, oh, like look what we had and didn't know and shit. But this was just like a moment of pure joy. And even afterwards, like sharing the video and stuff, it was just like so fun. Like what a blast.
Did it ever cross your mind like, oh, like I want to do this band again? Like did you ever get like a little bit of that creep in, or was it just like you did it?
Yeah,
people like it, cool.
I'll say like not like specifically Elysia, but I like always want to make music and do a band and shit for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever get into like wanting to start like kind of a hardcore type band, like Tsunami or Gulch and stuff? Like, is that
totally not those sounds, but yeah, I would love to fucking hey Lauren. And Cody was that's Cody from Knights of the Abyss. He hasn't said anything, but I just saw he joined. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice. Knights of the Abyss too. They're getting back together.
I think
doing some stuff.
Cody is part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Those
it's
guys
fucking
were.
sick, dude.
Those guys were.
That's like so rad that they're doing that. Oh,
Yeah, and see you next Tuesday. I
it
just saw
sounds
them
good
last
too.
night.
Like the new music from them sounds good too. Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, dude, it's such
really
a hard
excited,
thing to like reform 15 years ago and like make music again that
oh yeah. Fuck.
people like.
And to mention playing shows like you're not 25 anymore. Like we're like mid-30s going to 40. Like it ain't the same, man. I stood at that show yesterday, and when it was done, my hip was killing me just from standing there. I didn't mosh or nothing. Like, and I was like, why is my hip like?
Yeah.
I'm just stood there like, yeah, it ain't the same,
dude.
Man.
Me
I
either,
can't
man.
stand for hours.
I
on
go
end.
to shows a lot, like alone a lot now, which is another thing that happens in your 30s. It's just like you don't have like a fucking just like insane amount of friends,
a group or a buddy,
and you don't go to shows and just like know everyone anymore. You're old, dude. You're like not you're not tight anymore. And your friends are busy and shit, and like being friends with mostly musicians, I got like everyone's like in the service industry, so trying to get people to go to show is like, hey, I'm working. Oh, I'm working. You know. So I go alone a lot, but the good thing about that is it's really easy to sit down when I'm alone, and I do that. I'll fucking definitely do that.
Yeah.
Try being 50. Yeah. I remember that's Matt from Kill When He Dead. I remember I fucked up his knee on tour. And at the time I was like, damn, dude, I just like jumped on your back. What's the big deal? But I think about it now and I'm like, dude, if someone just jumped on my back right now, like my knee's toast. It's gonna blow. So if you're listening to this, Matt, I'm sorry about your knee. That one time.
I mean, it ain't the same. It's fun, but it ain't the same.
Oh wait, go-to gas station food on tour? Dude, I fucked with it's such a shitty food, but I really loved the cheesesteaks at I think Sheets. Is it Sheets? No, it's not. It's Wawa. Yeah, the cheesesteaks at Wawa were bomb. But Sheets was tight too, being on tour, and like there was like this little screen where you got to order and customize your food like your way. Dude, fucking tight.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Wawa, isn't that more of like Wawa? Isn't that more of like a Philly?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I mean, hence the cheesesteaks. They were like $5 and like I think pre-made, and I think you had to microwave them to get it melted. Dude, how does that's fine.
And I've done reunion.
Someone here knows I think you should leave. My favorite sketch, dude. I don't know. You know what? Honestly, I love Detroiters, man. Like that's the shit I watch all the time. Tim Robinson's show before I Think You Should Leave. It's not a sketch show. Detroiters is so fucking funny, and like no one's seen it. If you like I Think You Should Leave, watch it. It's so good.
And what is it? Is it a series or like a TV show?
I think it was on Comedy Central. They did 2 seasons. It's him and Sam Richardson, who's also on some of the I Think You Should Leave sketches. And it's just like them working at a ad agency in Detroit with I Think You Should Leave style humor. It's the best. Worst G6 ever is from Wawa. I know, but you said gas station food, so.
Detroiters is amazing. The clown gang at the talent show was hilarious.
That's what's up.
Toured with you guys on EC, I mean. So I guess are you reading the comments right now?
Because now we're just gonna get like Tim Robinson quotes, which is fucking awesome. I'm totally down with that.
Oh, the bush drink out of the goblet cup. I have that.
Yeah,
shirt.
that was a pretty
Small,
cool
though.
one.
You guys had a
There was
few
that one,
bush
and then the
shirts, eh?
large face with the like lightning bolts coming out of his eyes and the upside down cross on his
Yeah.
forehead.
Oh, and didn't you have one that said,
Oh, dude!
oh,
Wow, there were
fake news
3
or whatever?
bush shirts. That's fucking funny. I can't. That's so
Yeah.
funny. We'd have his face 3 times. This guy who we hate, we have his face on our shirts 3 times. I can't imagine doing something like that now.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that goblet one was pretty sick. It's like him drinking oil from like a chalice, surrounded by bones.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he has a crown on
Yeah.
or something, on or something.
And then the faux news one is fucking funny. There was some fucking really funny shirts, man.
Who did the graffiti shirts?
Mike? Oh, damn. I'm even surprised I got the first name. Yeah, I don't know. Mike something. This dude from Florida. I think he was in a band called Make or Break. He was in a hardcore band. Maybe it's Make or Break.
That's kind of cool, though. So he did. That was a pretty popular shirt.
The graffiti stuff.
Yeah,
man. It was a cool logo. We like used it a bunch. I liked that dude a lot too. He was cool. Mike Cortada, maybe might be his name.
Yeah,
that's a Mike in this band, Make or Break. That sounds right. He made,
maybe.
Like, we did this super funny like Circle Pit or Die shirt. Well, yeah, we talked about this, and like there's this small detail that like you would never notice online. You like have to own the shirt to see it, but there's like all these like little like insects doing circle pitting around like 2 like caricatures of like 2 different scene kids. There's like a tough guy and like a white belt.
Yeah.
And the white belt kid just has a shirt that says like, you know how everyone back then's MySpace name was like Mike Massacre or something? Yeah, his just says eating incest.
Yep.
And then the tough guy just has a shirt on that says pieces for pussies. So,
yeah, I still have that. I got that shirt a while ago. It's pretty good, actually. It's a good shirt.
Boot Hammer is calling that out.
Boot Hammer. There was a zombie head shirt that Mitch Lucker wore in May.
That's the Bush bass one. And Boot Hammer made that. And he's cool. He's like a cool booter who like hits up the band and asks you about it first. He like sent me it and shit. Yeah.
The ones he just did a bit ago?
What's up?
Yeah, that guy. I knew I recognized the name. Yeah, so he's the one that did the
this one
stuff, right?
Homie here's talking about the one that Mitch wore
the
in
Bush one with the
promo photos.
Bolts coming out of
the yeah. Mitch was like super. He was always really nice to us. They were like older than us by a few years. We would run it.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever toured with them. We would like run into them all the time and play gigs and shit. And like, he always like made it a point to talk to us and just kind of made us feel like peers instead of like little kids.
Right.
We were young, and lots of bands made us feel that way too. Just kind of always made us feel like little kids.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think Mitch was a guy who really liked the scene. You know what I mean? So I think he just appreciated everybody, no matter what the age was. Like, I feel like he kind of wanted a community. You know what I mean? Like, just from like talking to like people that used to know him and stuff. Like, he just sounded like, you know, what you said. He made you feel cool.
Yeah.
He made you feel older. You know, or like the same age, like a bunch of babies. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of bands that do that. So it's pretty cool. Crawford did the who was Aaron Crawford? That's what was his name though? Did he have
maybe I'll know. Maybe he'll
design. What was?
Let us know Aaron Crawford's name.
That name rings a bell.
he did the like Bush drinking oil shirt.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah.
I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. He ended up fucking sucking though. He well, at the time it was tight.
Oh, did he?
He like ran the designs he would do. He would run the merch store for them, right? So there was a period where all of our designs were his. So our web store was just like you just went to his site, and he would make merch and send it out. So it was kind of like this all-in-one thing for us, which was like tight because we could straight up like make a new shirt while on tour that's available online. I could just be like, hey, I want Bush drinking blood. Can you design that and start selling it? And yeah, but he stopped paying us. And so, he's from Arizona, which is like we have like connects there because of Nicely Abyss and like a bunch of friends there and shit. And so we have people that ask like, what's up with this fool dude? Does he like come around? And I think he just stopped fucking coming around, like just basically dropped out. Probably fucked over other people too on his website. So
that's so weird. And like, how much money is he?
Yeah, I don't even remember how much it was.
Like,
it just like ghosted us.
Like, kind of weird.
We were probably like, fuck you. Where's the nickname Lemon Squeeze come from? Danny hates that. I'll never call him that anymore. I'm respectful about it. It was just because we had to do like a presser, and he had like just joined, and like I don't think really knew his last name. Like I didn't mean disrespect by it. I wasn't like, yo, his last name's Lamelli. That sounds like, it doesn't sound like Lemon Squeeze. I didn't know his last name. I knew it was like Lama, and we're like Lemon Squeeze, like. But also he was like way younger than us too. Like, well, not in our older age context, he's not way younger than me. He's like 3 years younger than me. But back then, that's a world of a difference. So, yeah, maybe we were picking on him a little bit.
How did those "You Make Me Fucking Sick" shirts come about, or was it a thought process behind it?
I don't know what was first, the shirt or Decaying Waste, because we say that in Decaying Waste, which is the song I did with Knights of the Abyss. I think we recorded that song first, and then I was like, oh, I like wrote that part for that song, and I was like, oh, that's tight. Like, I want to use it for our band, for like band shirts.
But you guys had like a first press of that shirt, right? Where it was just like an logo.
Yeah.
And on the back, it
totally
make it thick. And then the back font one with like the front and back with Elysia Hates You. And,
totally.
So was that song out before the first press of that shirt?
No, there's no way. I don't think so.
I'm assuming it was. But that's like they were like
we made him.
Like,
our homie. We made him with Chris Doobie. Like he owned our friend. He owned like the gear and shit, and had the know-how and stuff.
Like all the
yeah.
Right.
And he was like our merch dude for a while too. He was like a big part of the band.
So that makes sense. So maybe you use that shirt to
that's
inspire
what
the lyrics, maybe. Yeah. Maybe you guys brought it back though.
Yeah,
after
for
that,
sure. Yeah.
Because I feel like once those, because everyone was wearing those shirts back then, so I feel like when you guys were at your peak and stuff, like you're getting a lot of traction with Masochist and stuff. I think you guys probably reprinted them, is my guess, because I never knew there was a first like design of that until like a handful of years ago when someone showed me it, and it was like and I was like, oh, I didn't even know they had like an early version of that.
Dude, I'm keep going back to the City's Burning DVD. I'm wearing that shirt in that DVD, but it's like a custom version that I made where I like smeared ink on it and shit. You know what? Did you ever see the like Acacia strain rip on that Elysia Hates You design?
Yeah.
Oh, we saw that like in we were playing Toronto and had like one of those like tours meeting up at the same show type gigs there, where we played with the Acacia strain there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like we had not heard about that shirt, and we just show up and like saw it there at the merch booth, and we're like, what the fuck? But they did one that said you're. No, like, well,
what was the...
At first, you know, I was like sensitive about it. I was like, is this beef? And they're like, no, we just see that shirt everywhere. We're like making fun of it. And we're like, oh. And then we like traded them.
That's sick though. I've seen that shirt. I always thought it was some sort of beef or like some sort of like jab at you guys. But
I don't know. It might have been a jab or something, but I think they were just like making fun of it.
I mean,
they also had that like free shirt, like
right. Free since 2003 or whatever. It has like super metal logo. Yeah, I have that shirt actually. That was a fun shirt. It was like purple, I think the font, right? It was a black shirt, purple font or something. Yeah, Breathe Free. They used to have one too that was like stop texting and watch the show on the back.
That was a problem.
Yeah, I remember that being one. That's funny. Yeah, I know. Like once cell phones hit, I feel like everyone's like just texting.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't have to deal with
crazy.
That. But yeah, the flip side is like I said earlier, that like there's no archival like footage really. There's not a whole lot on YouTube of us, which is like kind of a bummer.
No. YouTube's got some shitty phone stuff and a little bit of like camcorder, but it's not like but I mean equipment back then wasn't the same either as it is now. You know what I mean? Like
your phone takes a 4K video now. It's wild.
Oh, it's insane. Like I just filmed this last night for CNX Tuesday and I gave it to them. They're like, whoa, this is like really good. And I was like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's my cell phone. Like it's crazy. Looks like Matt's leave is a good seeing you, Zach.
Dad life. That's what's up.
Dad life. I know we've been doing this for a while, so I'm gonna wrap it up for you.
Yeah, that might be a good segue there, Matt. Thank you.
I was gonna see if excuse me. What are like? I know you kind of had a little tidbits dropped throughout this interview, but is there any plans and stuff like any sort of stuff that fans can get excited for in the future?
Yeah, I'm just like in the works on it, so I don't want to say like too much, but like I'll just say like I want to and am actively trying to re-release Masochist for people, so you can stream it and shit, and hopefully make the CD not $300. So actually, if anyone's left, if you've been considering buying that CD on Discogs or something, maybe don't, because eventually I hope there'll be another one you can buy.
Without giving too much away, right? Is there anything else you can tell us about, or is that pretty much?
That's pretty much.
Like song-wise, is it just Masochist?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to add like the demos to it as well.
Yeah.
Put Massacre on there, because that song's sick.
Yeah. I'm sure you're getting sick of all the DMs you get saying press Masochist.
No, dude, it's not like a ton. It's not a ton. It's like yeah, it doesn't happen too often. So when it does, I'm like flattered by it. It's not annoying or anything. Yeah.
No, I mean for sure, absolutely. I don't mean I don't. I would be the same. I'd be flattered too, but like I said earlier, like I feel flattered that if people want to pay that much, but I feel bad that a fan has to shell out, a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or shirts.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's
right. Shirts are hella expensive too. So, yeah, if we are gonna do this, I would probably want to do a shirt or something too.
Oh yeah, I would do some cool merch too for sure, because yeah, people like I just bought a hoodie and it was like this one here.
Oh, wait, turn that around. Oh fuck. Okay, that's one of the ones we made with Chris.
Yeah, it's a dude that saw you a bunch of times. Well, anyway, it's cost me $200.
That's a grip.
Yeah. But you know what I mean. You're one of my favorite bands, so I was like, I gotta get it.
It's just the OG logo.
Yeah.
Super simple on black.
Oh yeah, that's one of the coolest logos,
dude.
Who made that logo, by the way?
That logo's not created. It's just a font called Shoguns. Yeah. But I mean, technically, someone.
I thought so.
Someone typed it and showed me it. My friend at the time, this dude Sean Turner, who was like from like South Sac kind of suburbs, was like in some local bands and shit too. He sent me that one day. I was like, dude, this is fucking tight. And then when people asked for our logo for flyers and stuff, I asked him like for an image of it, and he was just like, oh, it's just this font called Shoguns. It can download it. So anytime someone asks for our logo, I'll just be like, download Shoguns, bro, and you got it. Yeah, there's like a slight variation on it that Aaron Crawford dude made. It's kind of made it like a little more like metal, I guess. But honestly, I think just the regular Shoguns one looks tight. Like that's my favorite one. Yeah.
Pre-made font. No, it's good. I always like the logo. And I have an old shirt where there's like a monster guy being weighed down by like a brick.
Ooh, yeah.
That. And that logo's cool. That's very like wispy, like a very like that drags out a lot.
I don't know. If it was, it would have been like the first one he ever did.
Yeah, I like that logo too. That was really cool. But yeah, man, I'm gonna I'll wrap it up for you. I know it's been a while.
Thefont.com. It's
been a while.
Someone specifically called out the font website that I used to always tell people to font.
Oh yeah, the font. That's like the biggest one.
I think
right?
So. I don't know. I didn't think people use the font anymore. But really?
No, I think it's like still real. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's still. I'm pretty sure.
At one of my jobs, I had to make I did like the handwriting for signs and stuff, like chalk signs and shit. And I would type in words on the font and like use fonts and copy them. So yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's cool. Something I cruised it just to see cool fonts, and there's a lot that are very. You can tell like an old deathcore band used it, or there was fonts back then that every band used over and over again, and every flyer had at least one band with that font.
Yeah,
I forget what it's called. Convalescence.
Yeah, I
think it's a little bit like Underneath the Guns, or maybe not. It's something like Underneath the Gun, or actually, I think it's right here. I did a band that has so this is like a Michigan band.
Dude,
Abby Martin, that logo,
looks
like that
just
font.
like Underneath the Gun. Oh yeah, that's definitely Convalescence.
Yes.
Oh dude, this looks like
Convalescence
an old,
font. Yeah. So
God, Converge used this a long time ago, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Probably. It's like one of those big. That's the font. Like it. Yeah, Heaven Shall Burn. Heaven Shall Burn is like a big band. That logo. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely
yeah.
Someone.
Yeah. Thanks.
Dude, that's cool. It's crazy people know that.
Yeah. It's one of those. Well, yeah. I hope they know it, because there's fucking 300 bands with that just in one year. Like every flyer had like sometimes 2-3 bands, same font. I'm like,
yeah. Every now and then that would happen because our logo was just a font. Like every now and then there'd just be like some like local band on the flyer with the same thing or something.
Right. Yeah. I do want to touch on who made that Barney thing. Is that one of you guys?
Oh man, that was my friend Brittany Gray. Yeah, a friend of mine, friend of my brother's. She's like, yeah, we're still tight with her. She's like real funny. Like, like made that, sent it to us, and like, I don't know. We thought it was goofy and funny.
Oh, it definitely is. It's hilarious. I wasn't sure if it was like you guys or someone you knew, or just like a fan.
It was like our friend. But, she also took our like first band photos too. Actually, I'm remembering on like a little point and shoot.
That's of course, yeah. That's you guys were balling on a budget. You know?
Barney. She made it, dude. I don't know, because Barney is tight, I guess.
A soft little puss,
yeah,
right?
He's nice and squishy and soft.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go. I don't want to keep it any longer. It's almost been
3 hours. You're gonna have to edit this before reposting it.
I don't know if I can download it from Instagram. I think I can post it, but I don't think I can actually like.
Oh shit!
I don't think so. I think this is like lets me delete it or post it.
So technically, we're at a spot right now that probably no one will ever see again, because this is 3 hours in.
Some of the diehard.
No one's watching this.
If you've made it,
thank you. Wow.
Thank you. You really do care. Yeah, I want to say I just want to thank you, Zach, for hopping in here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was cool, like that. It's crazy to me that like someone would want to ask these questions and know shit about back then. It's fun. It's fun to relive.
Yeah. No, I mean, you guys are so much like talked about still to this day, and I thought and obviously like. People wanting the Masochist reprints and blah blah blah, like it's a big thing. So I thought to try and get you on, especially like visually, people want to see, put a face to the name and stuff, and I feel like it's kind of fun to do that. And I thought, why not try and get Zach on here so we can all kind of like get some facts straight, learn a little more, ask questions, whatever. Right? So because a lot of the not stigma, but a lot of the stuff that people say is that you want nothing to do with the band. When like you get brought up in certain like groups, like deathcore pages and stuff, like, oh, we want to repress, and there people be like, oh, like Zach wants nothing to do with the band, and so I want to make it clear too that like
that
they like that.
Came from
like
in my 20s, like that was the case, dude. Like
sure.
I like just really hated like being attached to like some old lyrics and shit, and felt embarrassed, and like
I mean it's now, not even
now I'm like when you're older in your 30s and shit, when you look back at yourself at 16 and stuff, it's like you're like, dude, that was me. Like it doesn't even seem like you anymore. Like so your memories become like so much more like foggier and distant and shit, and I just have so much more like separation from it now and stuff, and so totally
for sure. I mean, oh yeah, for sure. No, I don't think anyone thinks like anything crazy about you, but also, it is what it is, right? Like you wrote things, but you're 16, 17, like we've all done and said like the craziest shit, right? Whether it's cringe or shock value, I used to say some crazy shit when I was younger, just to get people, angry or uncomfortable. Like, I mean, would I do that now? Never. But I look back on it and I go, how did I even say some of this shit in public? You know what I mean? Or like in a group of people at a party. But it's like, you as long as you learn from it and didn't and don't do it still, and you think it's wrong, and you know what I mean? Like as long as you grew from it and realized it was stupid, then like, I don't really see an issue. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But no, I'm happy that we did this. This was a lot of people were excited. So. Yeah. Everyone's pretty, and I think they're excited with this little teaser you gave them too. So it gives hope for the people that don't want to spend that much money on stuff on a CD. But yeah, man, gonna let you go. Everyone's saying to post this. Yeah, I'm gonna post this on Instagram, and also on my on the label's Bandcamp. I'll put the audio. So I did it with my 2 other interviews, so you guys can listen to the audio too if you want.
Do you put them on YouTube?
Well, if I gotta, I don't know if I can rip the video from Instagram. I don't know. My buddy who does my art, he might have ripped it and then took the audio from it. I'm not sure, but he did get the audio from it from the other 2 interviews I did with See You Next Tuesday. But yeah, so if it's on YouTube, I'll do that too. But as of now, it'll be on the Instagram. You can watch it, and you can do it on the Bandcamp. It'll be, you guys can stream it and kind of jam it and whatever. Let's do it with a walk or with the dogs or something. But cool, man. I'll keep you. I won't keep you anymore. I appreciate it. I want to thank everybody who came out and participated, asked questions, enjoyed the interview, and
sorry we didn't answer some of them. There was a second there where they were coming kind of fast, trying to talk and read them and shit. But yeah, you can message me after if you'd like.
Yeah, I know there was. Yeah, I know there was a few. There was a few, but like Zach said, there was a period where the comments were kind of coming in. But yeah, if you have any questions, Zach said he's cool answering questions. But yeah, thanks again.
Thanks for having me, man. It was cool chatting.
No, for sure, it's cool, man. Keep me in the loop with other stuff too, and see what happens. I'm excited.
Can give more details or information eventually.
Yeah, well, in due time. That's cool, man. All right, have a good night, and thank you, everybody. Take care. See you, man. Thanks.